All right. Man, oh man. I had you can hear it in my voice. I had a deep tissue massage. I'll never do that before the show again as long as I live. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, it's like somebody put Swiss cheese on my penis and masturbated me, Garrett. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Make sure you drink plenty of water.
You know what? The woman said that to me.
Moved around.
That's exactly right. And I did it early. I did it very early, like 8:00. And so I finished at like 9, and it was, everything, and the lymph nodes and oh man, it was unbelievable. So I get up, I go get the car washed, and I am like dizzy. It was so good. I don't know what she did. Moved everything around, and I feel like Kramer, Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Wow. I always feel for that guy. I really do. I just feel for Michael Richards. He's now on, that ridiculous show, with, the fat actors.
Kirstie Alley.
Yeah. And they had John Travolta on there the other night. I saw that,
was it a Scientology, show?
Ooh. Oh, you're right about that. They're into all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they open these Scientology centers. I was in Wichita, Kansas once years ago, and someone said, "Are you here for Christie's opening of her new church?"
Mm.
I went, "Her new church?" She goes, "Yeah, she opened a new Scientology center." She goes all over the country doing it. What's weird is that when you meet the people that are into it, they're kind of odd. They're odd people anyway. And they've had all kinds of trouble. So I really don't want to be a member of a church or a group of individuals.
You would be perfect for that church, though.
No, you can't keep... I've always been able to control my desires. And if I did drugs or whatever, I did that. Or if I have a drink, I have a drink, and I'm okay. It's for people that can't control themselves. I have no interest. I have a couple of friends like that.
You'd have good stories for them. Isn't it kind of like AA?
Yeah, but I don't have any stories where I want to recover from anything.
No, I don't mean to recover, but just like crazy, like the Rob Lowe story. And then
but that's not, they don't want to hear all that.
Well, it would be
They don't
fun.
want to hear all
It would be fun.
We had Nicole from Condomania on last week, and she, what I love about Christina is she just put all the stuff on her desk and took a picture of it.
That's right.
And sent it to me.
She's got the box right in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
She won't
and
hand
there's
it
stuff there for you. I see a couple of butt condoms.
Well,
yes,
condoms,
there are.
Condoms are condoms.
Well, but they're ribs for your anal
no.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, send them to
There's
Phil
lots
Robertson.
of there's an anal lube here called, what is it? Gun oil. Down here and polish my gun. Yeah, and then there's a little vibrator thingy for me and some rubbing stuff, and then there's this, I think, what is this called? This isn't a cock ring, is it? What it is? It's a cock ring.
Oh.
So this one's up for grabs for either of you.
I like Garrett in the background. Uh-huh. That's a cock ring.
I'll try that.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
Cock ring.
Yeah, but it has a clitoral stimulator on it. You don't
You
need
have that. You should take it. I don't want
Everybody's throwing cock rings around the room. I can't handle it.
And then there's
that. Feels so shameful.
then there's Rub Love. What's that? Rub Love.
Rub
What
Love is an all-natural, all-over excitement oil or lotion.
Lip
When they
Love.
mention this stuff, this all-natural stuff, shit is all natural,
You want
Yes,
to be
it
rubbed
is.
in shit.
It is,
shit.
it goes in your
Naturally.
mouth, down your esophagus, into your stomach,
Yeah,
and
it's all
intestines, and then
natural.
boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
natural, all natural. Eat that. It's all natural.
Garrett, that you very seldom hear that on any of the talk shows, that shit is all natural. You don't ever...
I think you can hear that on Dr. Oz.
If you go online, I believe you can buy some of Casey Anthony's murderabilia.
Garrett just got a boner.
Yeah. She does still look... She does look... Come in.
Is that the bean?
Yeah.
I did this play years ago for Woody Allen.
Don't get that stuck in your butt.
And the first play, oh God, my memory's so bad. The first play, it was 2 one-acts. No. These are brand new plays. Writer's block, they were called. But the first play, who was on television with Helen Hunt that beat me in the ratings, and Paul Reiser, and he's at the on the west side overlooking the Hudson River, and all of a sudden this kind of crazy guy starts talking to him, and they get in a conversation, kind of like Zoo Story. You know the play Zoo Story, Kevin, from years and years ago?
No.
That made Al Pacino famous. You've never read or seen the Zoo Story?
I think I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Oh, it's an amazing play where these two guys meet in the park, and one is kind of a homeless guy, and he begins to challenge this businessman is just kind of sitting on a park bench looking out over the river. Mm-hmm. And before the play is over, this kind of crazy homeless guy has turned this calm businessman into a murderer. It's what made Al Pacino famous, the Zoo Story.
Wow.
And so, it was done off Broadway years and years ago. So the Woody Allen play, with Paul Reiser and the guy he's talking to, and he'd do this this incredible run of, philosophical, discussion, and then go, "Come in!" You just hear like a doorbell ring or something. I don't know. So that's what I think of. So Casey Anthony's murderabilia being sold for $800 a piece.
Like the duct tape?
You go to
It's such a freak.
serial killer. You go to serial killers, INK.net.
Is she profiting off this, or?
They say the items belong to Anthony for sale.
Okay.
Clothing, purses, which were sold at a garage sale that the Anthonys did back in 2013. Mm-hmm. Now, her parents must have done it, and certainly doesn't speak to her dad, does she? Didn't she say her dad abused her and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're back together.
All has been forgiven and forgotten.
Sorry, Dad.
7 pairs of her pants, 6 purses.
What about panties for Garrett?
There goes his whole paycheck.
Can you sell used underwear?
The Anthonys were selling things which previously belonged to their dead granddaughter, Haley. Oh my God. They sold stuff from the dead baby? Oh my God.
Are they in financial ruins
Hopefully
after the whole ordeal?
You're talking $30 worth of stuff.
No, but is the family or is Kate, are they in financial ruins after all of that? Because
probably.
Who's going to ever hire her?
I don't. You know what? I don't think they had any money.
Yet.
I don't think they had any money to begin with.
All these items were bought at a garage sale.
And so they're not Casey.
And then they're being resold
as Casey Anthony's, but she's not profiting off any of
No.
Yeah, okay.
They went to the parents' garage sale.
Yeah. Okay.
And they bought them.
Yeah, all right. Well,
now, what other stuff do they have at
why would anybody think that would be?
Why would anybody want, though?
Yeah.
Oh, please. There's so many.
Why would anybody want John Wayne Gacy's clown paintings? And they have them over the fireplace, and they have that all lit up and it looks beautiful. It's like.
Yeah.
They have a Gacy.
You could download Jeffrey Dahmer's 243-page confession for only $100.
Where did John Wayne Gacy? Where did Jeffrey Dahmer work? What chocolate factory?
Hershey's.
Ambrosia Chocolate in Milwaukee.
Ambrosia.
Ted Bundy's letters and envelopes. Charles Manson signed letters. David Berkowitz letter. Richard Ramirez, original artwork. John Wayne Gacy signed letter and items.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I'll tell you,
John Edward
as I've said
Robinson.
before, the internet has given people who did not need a voice and who don't deserve a voice. And this is one of them. It has opened the door for perverts of all types and for profiteers of all types that to me are the face of evil. And I think that if you think it's cute or interesting or funny to sell the stuff of other people's murderer, I think that's so awful. And that's the problem I have all the time with this stuff. And I don't think it's funny. And now they're selling the baby clothes.
You know, when they
the
bought
dead child,
when they bought
my God.
that stuff, like, you know, when the Anthony's had that garage sale, which they had, and this person came by and bought all that stuff, I'm sure they didn't think that all this stuff was going to go up for sale.
Oh, come on.
You know, the Anthony's didn't. You think the Anthony's?
Why would you say who in their right mind?
To get rid of it. You want to get rid of
Yeah.
things. You don't want to throw it out. Usually, clothes I usually donate. I put in the box, not the Salvation Army because I don't like them, but I'll put them in the fireman's box,
Yeah, but who in their right mind would want to go to the sale over there at their house anyway and buy?
Maybe they
what?
didn't know they were the Anthony's.
Oh, come on.
You go through these. You go out. Picking garage sales. Every weekend. You go, oh, there's another one. Let's go over there. There's, I used
You
to
think
do
the American Pickers stopped over there to?
That would be a
What,
good program, though.
that's
the American
gotta be-
Pickers going to the Casey
Oh,
Anthony's
that's the
house.
phoniest. In the beginning, I guess it was cool. It's so phony now.
Yeah, it's
They're
okay.
driving around. They go, oh, look over there at that barn. And they pull in, and the guy has an airplane for sale, just by accident. He's got an airplane in the barn. Or he has signs that are worth, all kinds of money,
Movie
old soda
posters
signs.
from Charlie Chaplin.
Motorcycles.
era.
Yeah.
Oh, I got an old Indian motorcycle. There's only 2 of them around in the world.
That's right. Did you see that episode? He had an Indian motorcycle in there.
It's the same program. Every program, they find an Indian motorcycle.
Yeah.
Or handlebars or, something. An old bicycle that Orville Wright built. Roman's the first one with 3 spokes.
Well, Christina, I actually did some research yesterday. I get home, and you had said something that I just found, ludicrous, that the lower birth rate of teens
Yes.
was being purported to have happened because of the teen show, My Pregnant Teen or 16 and Pregnant.
Yeah, and that was also on the
And-
news this morning.
Yeah.
It was a huge story,
Yeah.
a gigantic story.
Yes.
And the whatever it is for drug and disease prevention or whatever, says that they actually have people who have sent them messages that have said, "Well, I just watched 16 and Pregnant, and that reminded me to take my birth control, and I watched this episode, and I'll always use a condom." I'm talking a 15 to 20% drop in teen pregnancies.
Well, the show doesn't at all glorify it or glamorize it in any sense. I mean, we've seen tons of these girls going to prison, being hooked on drugs, having abusive relationships, like trying to deal, with juggling a baby and school, and the majority of them kind of fail unless they have a lot of help. So I think it is, good for
The sad thing is when I impregnated JT's mom, we were, like 19, or 20 years old. We weren't 21. And so in Tennessee, I'm glad too, something stopped us. We needed her parents' permission or something. And there was no, in Tennessee, to get married.
To get married?
She wanted to get
okay.
married.
Right.
And so she calls me up. I'm on the air in Knoxville. I hadn't heard from her in 3 months or so, or we had spoken, but
Hi, Jay,
so now,
remember me?
3 months is
Exactly.
exactly the time that you get that phone call.
We went out one night.
so I
Great
fly her
George Carlin
down.
bit.
I fly her down from where she was living, and we go to the doctor, and sure enough, she's pregnant.
Bing bong.
And now it's almost 4 months, right? Because I waited 2 weeks to get a cheaper ticket. So
Why don't you come in next week, hon? Yeah.
you had to wait 14. You wait 14 days to get a cheap ticket. So I got a cheaper ticket, and so now, I am still a very moral Catholic guy. Remember, it was the first time I ever got laid, and I had done everything I could do not to get laid, and I was pretty happy having sex the way I was having it. And I had another girlfriend for years, and we never went all the way, ever. Of course, she meets a guy as soon as we break up and, can't screw him enough. But, and my girlfriend from high school ends up having 5 children with a Marine after I'd heated her up, every weekend. But
you really were a good Catholic.
It was a long time. And so now we felt it was very late.
We raised him very well.
The only way you get an abortion is to go to New York, and I told you I didn't have the money, the $600 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But we also felt as though that now it's 4 months.
Right.
And it seemed like a long time. And I think you could only get it in the first trimester. I don't, it's a blur. It's a blur. So now we start going to doctors and all of that stuff. So we were like 2, viable individuals. They don't show those kind of people, or do they? On that, do they ever show any children of kind of wealthy or well-to-do people or educated teens? Because they're all really dumb, the ones that I see.
Well, yeah.
Well, you were out of high school, Jay, at the time.
No, we were out of college. I mean, we had, basically
on the
gotten
show,
out of school, or I was getting out of school. So
on the show, there was a couple who decided to give up their baby for open adoption. And you could tell that they were the parents in their own situations, like parenting their own parents, because their parents were drug addicts and all kinds of stuff. So, but they all seemed very responsible. And unless you have a lot of help from your parents, like there's one girl on the show that her father's a dentist, he's very wealthy, and she never has to struggle. She just struggles emotionally. But then there's, the ones that wind up in prison and have 11 mugshots and are pregnant right now and are heroin addicts.
Mm-hmm. Well,
can't wait for
and I called her. Listen, I called her my wife, so I always say she's, my wife, and I introduced her as my wife and everything else. What's odd about that, and I've thought about, writing about this. It's very dramatic. There I am, the screaming late night, disc jockey in Nashville, and we would go out with people, and I had a friend, and he thought, I was crazy for even bringing her, to Nashville and dealing with it. But then he meets her, and he says, wow, she's really nice and really smart and funny and everything else. And I said, yeah, and it's difficult. But we're so young, right? Mm-hmm. And we had fun together and everything else, but I didn't want to be married. So now my parents are really mad because we sent them these telegrams saying we were married. My mom and dad, according to my brother, cried all night long and were surreal. And I didn't say she was pregnant, right? I didn't say she was pregnant. So her sister is sent down on a reconnoiter tour by the family. And so she wasn't showing, and she's now 5 months pregnant, and she really didn't show anything. And didn't really show till she was over 8. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to drive home to Louisiana to see my mom and dad. I bring her, right? Mm-hmm. And my parents think she's very nice, and my dad takes me in the office, and we sit down, and he goes, look, she's really nice. And she wasn't pregnant. You couldn't see anything. Mm-hmm. But he said, gosh, what are you doing? And my dad said something like, if she was pregnant, I would have, I'm really surprised. He kept saying that to me. Mm-hmm. And I said, no. He goes, you're so young, and it's a long, long time to be, married, and you haven't even started your career and all that stuff. But they liked her. So we drive away, having convinced her sister and my parents that we just got married.
And you didn't want anybody to know that she was pregnant because you had planned to give this child up?
I think in the back of my head, I'm a pretty sneaky guy.
Right.
I'm a sneaky guy to this day. I am a sneak. And I'm going to do what's right for me. And I am going to say the things and do the things that are correct for me. And so I was going to go to the last minute of the last quarter before, and I was not going to get married. Mm-hmm. So what's funny is I should have called my brother and he would have helped me or whatever, but anyway. So, and I've told you that I tried to get some pills to make her have a hard, period and all that stuff, and I ended up throwing them away. So now we're living together, and the baby's growing, and she's going, when are we getting married? And a friend of mine who worked in the afternoon, Bob King Cole. Hey, the Bob King Cole Show. Good afternoon. Now, the station we're at is the worst station you've ever heard, and we have no signal. And I remember when I drove into Nashville trying to get the station on the radio, I didn't know anything about going to a station with a good signal. WMAK, which was a company I'd worked for before, they have Scott Shannon on, who's, famous for WPLJ. Sure. He's screaming and yelling, and he's so loud on the radio that I have to keep turning the sound down I go, God, what's that? Well, I turn on my station, WKDA 1450, which is way up on this dial AM, and I can't even hear it, where, most places, at night anyway.
Right.
So there's no way we could have won the ratings or anything. So one day, in the middle of all of this, I go to work, and there's a guy with a cowboy hat sitting behind the board. The station went country during the day. I couldn't hear it at my apartment, so I didn't even know they changed formats. And I go down there, and I see this guy with a cowboy hat, and I hear country music coming out of the thing.
Did you have a cowboy hat in your trunk?
No, they didn't want me.
No, they didn't want you.
And the afternoon guy was a guy named Dr. Al Adams, and he had a character called Willard the Duck. Mm-hmm. And he did whatever the Willard the Duck thing, and he was funny. But what's weird is he had a puppet on his hand. Now, we're on the radio, but he had this puppet.
Yeah, those ventriloquists are really weird,
But he was funny. He was a funny guy. He should not have been the program director. He was kind of a weak guy, but he was really funny on the air, and he had this Willard the Duck. When I go in his office, he's scared of me. And he's behind his desk, and I had this terrible temper. There was even a gunshot that went off in the studio one night. We blew all the, I got a gun. We were farting around, and I shot the wall. And that was a big rumor that I used the gun in the studio.
Yeah,
and all that.
That's a problem, Jay.
They were scared of me. And I had a terrible temper, and I used to fist fight and all this kind of stuff. And so I go in there, and I go, what's going on? And he goes, okay, now look, I want you to know you're going to get 2 weeks severance. That's what he said to me. I go, what happened? He goes, well, the ratings were bad, and we changed formats and everything else, and I'm going to give you a really good reference. And he's behind the desk, and he's like holding onto the desk, right? So I get kind of hot, and he says, yeah, a lot of guys they're getting 1 week. We're giving you 2 weeks severance, and I'm sorry that you moved here and all this kind of stuff. And he's nervous, right? And so all of a sudden, now this sounds like a joke, Willard, the Duck, starts talking to me. The guy is so nervous, Willard starts talking. And saying, like, in the duck voice, yeah, you were really good. You really were funny. And I'm looking at the guy, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he was oblivious to the fact that his alter ego was talking to me. So basically, Willard the Duck is trying to calm us both down, right? And he starts trying to tell jokes.
Does he have the duck on his hand?
He does.
Oh, but he doesn't. I mean,
that would be. You know what? It would be a hard scene for anybody to believe in a movie. Is Willard the Duck was?
Is the duck kind of like under the table a little bit, kind of talking at you?
No.
The duck is
full. The duck is full up by his head. Full up. So he had been on the air in the afternoon playing country music with Willard the Duck. So he kept his job.
Yeah.
The morning guy, Jimmy Rabbit, he kept his job. And some other people kept their jobs, but they were not in need of my services at night. So, because I was a specific top 40, kid disc jockey. So Willard the Duck's firing me. So now I go back home, and I walk downstairs, and there's this big line of people all holding candles trying to end the Vietnam War, right? Mm-hmm. I've just gotten fired. I got a pregnant girlfriend at home, right? And I see my buddy Dave, the guy that I told you about. He'd been beaten up by some construction workers. It was so surreal, I couldn't believe it. And I had a motorcycle at the time. So I get on this motorcycle, and I don't give three shits about the war. And I go back to my house, and I announced to my pregnant girlfriend that I've just been fired. So now we have like 2 weeks worth of money left. And so what do I do the next day? Fuck, I sell her car. Her parents had given her some new car, and I sell the car. But we were, fairly responsible. And then she went to some therapist or whatever, and we figured it out. And the therapist said the baby only cares who loves it. And And after me yelling and screaming a lot, we decided to give it up. But it was, I wish you'd see something like that on that show where, you know, they're kind of like, you know, there are people 25 years old, Christina, that get pregnant and they're in trouble. You know, they're weird.
If I got pregnant right now at 33, I would be in desperate trouble.
And you might give it away. I mean, you might
I
not
wouldn't.
have an abortion. Yeah, well, you'd know quickly, I guess.
Your parents wouldn't let you give it away.
Yes, they would.
They would?
In a heartbeat.
No, they wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
They would want a grandchild.
No, they wouldn't.
No.
No.
The second
they
they'd
do.
see it.
Absolutely not. I really don't think so.
Oh, my God.
My whole life,
Look
I've
how
never
much they
wanted
baby
babies.
you.
I've pretty much conditioned them to realize
You
that
don't,
it's
you
never
don't
gonna
get
happen.
to see it. No, they sweep the baby's gone. I've
Yeah,
told
it's
you
like
that
a
story.
vacuum
I went
cleaner.
there. I tried to. No. That's the abortion.
Oh.
But I tried to go get the baby back at the end of the whole deal, and they wouldn't let me see it. So they'll let you see it. It's gone. Kid's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
now
they
what's so funny
they
is
let you wait a really long time before you make the decision. Like a lot of times, the girls will go back on it, take the baby home, and then a month later realize that they can't do it, and then give it back.
Mm-hmm.
You see that on 16 and Pregnant also, by the way, everybody.
In certain states, they make you look at the what is the thing in the stomach they do? The
Ultrasound?
The ultrasound.
They make you look at the baby's heartbeat and all that stuff. And see the baby and all that stuff. That's for the religious right to make you feel as badly as you can possibly
You know, they
feel.
do that too if you miscarry. A lot of times they'll have you deliver it, and then you have to hold the baby, and then they bless the baby, and it's a whole.
What?
Yes, it's sickening. It is
I know that.
sickening.
Sometimes.
What was that show with all the kids?
Not miscarry, stillbirth.
Yeah.
Oh, so well, okay.
What is that show, like
But even
16
if
kids
it's
and
too-
counting, you know, with all the religious, you know, that...
The Dugans?
Yeah.
The Dugans.
I would never. be
She
able
had
to.
a miscarriage, and then they took that...
A stillbirth.
A stillbirth, and they took the
Stillbirth.
baby home.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? I can't imagine
they buried,
that.
They buried the baby in the backyard with the cats.
But to hold the baby and you know they give you the blanket.
I don't know if it was
afterwards,
with the... I
it's
think it
too
was in a
much.
cemetery, not with the cats.
It's too much emotionally
Well,
to handle.
Octomom, they arrested Octomom.
Yeah, she's a piece of garbage.
14 children, one autistic. She's lucky she only has one. And she's been, you know, doing something bad.
Welfare and stuff.
And all of that stuff. And she's got some kind of welfare fraud, you know.
She's trying to make
30
a living.
grand. But I was amazed yesterday to see that the
16 and pregnant.
made the pregnancy rate go down. I thought you were kidding. I really did. I was absolutely amazed by that. And,
Well, it's a perfect storm. There's a number of different factors that, you know, the reason why teen pregnancies are coming down. And that's a contributing factor.
But you would have never seen that, you know, early in the 80s.
Garrett, have you ever
So-
gotten a woman pregnant? A girl, high school or college or anything?
No.
Never.
Very nice, Garrett.
Congratulations.
That's because he's very concerned with the money shot.
And Christina, have you been
Never,
pregnant and had
no.
to dispose of a child? No?
Nope.
Okay.
I take my
People
pill.
sometimes say to me,
Like
why would you
chocolate.
ask someone that? And I go, you know what? When we make it natural, when we make it something that can be spoken of, then it will become something that's more acceptable. It you know, if a woman can say to a friend, you know, it didn't fit into my life. I was too young. I couldn't handle it, whatever. I know a married couple that they got pregnant like right after they were married, and they had an abortion within a few months of their marriage. And I thought they would never make it. But they did and ended up having 3 more children. That was odd to me.
Was it just because they weren't ready, or was it because the baby?
They weren't ready.
It wasn't convenient for them.
They wanted, well, that's terrible to say, but you're right. They
that's
wanted
true.
to travel.
Yep. That's
You know,
true.
they wanted to, they had these plans to travel around the world for their first couple of years of marriage. She gets pregnant. And they don't want to, this sounds awful.
I proposed to a woman because she was pregnant. She
With
got
your
pregnant.
baby?
Mm-hmm. And then she
Punched her in the stomach?
She vomited. She got sick.
no, she
Threw her down the steps?
She held up an anal condom and said, "Don't think so."
after I gave her the ring and all, I proposed to her and everything because she was pregnant,
Right.
and then we had engagement. We had a big engagement party and everything, and then I flew down to Mississippi, and
my.
she told me that oh, by the way, Kevin, I should let you know that I'm fine. Everything's fine. And she wasn't pregnant anymore. And then I was like, oh my God, I just didn't like her anymore.
Was she ever pregnant, or she just made that up to make you marry her?
That's quite a tool, huh?
She wasn't. Well, I don't know. She's, I was believing that she was pregnant. Yeah, and that she.
Well, the worst thing that I remember is a friend of mine lived in this cabin with no heat up in the mountains, and he was a close friend of mine. And he starts dating this really large woman, and when I would go to his cabin, he only had a plug or something that worked properly in the bedroom, and he would plug the coffee in over the bed. And there was a kitchen and stuff, but it was so cold in the house, and we would turn on this, we'd light this wood-burning stove, and it would just take a long time. And it was just not insulated, and it's by this lake, and it's up in the Appalachian Mountains there. And it was a nice place, but it was a summer place. And we could talk loud, we could pour coffee, and she wouldn't wake up. She slept like a rock. And I found that to be, odd. Well, one day he says to me, she's pregnant, and I'm going to marry her. And I go, man, I hope he doesn't have serious sex in him. I go, don't do that. Don't do that. Get it. No, I'm going to do the right thing. So he gets all this stuff, right? Well, guess what? Her period comes. And he married her anyway. And I thought that was the dumbest thing any human being could do. And, maybe he's happy, maybe he's not. I have no idea. They would come to visit me, and their children were huge, and I couldn't take it. They had a big fat wife and the two huge children, and I'm living in California. I couldn't take it. And I used to think she was going to jump in the pool and all the water would come out of the pool. But what's weird about it is he's a wonderful guy, and I loved him to death. But when he came to visit you, he wouldn't leave. He'd stay a month. When he was single, and I was single, it was okay. And then some other friends said, man, he came to visit me and he didn't leave. He stayed for like a long time. And I said, yeah, he does the same thing to me. So finally we all had to start saying,
come for a couple of days.
One time he said, I'm traveling the country with my son. Can I come see you? And I said, no, they just found a tumor in me and I'm going to be probably dead by the time you get here. Don't come to visit or whatever. I mean, I didn't even want to call him anymore, he just would stay would never leave, ever. But once that woman's period started, I would have changed my phone number. It would have been over. It would have, if you're going to get married, you might as well get married to somebody that's going to, I mean, when I see these brides or these grooms that are huge, that have worked out and everything else to get married, I go, what do you think they're going to look like when you get relaxed?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that's awful, and everyone thinks it's awful, but...
Marianne was saying the other day where I was over there for the Golden Globes, and she was there with all her three girlfriends, and all the girlfriends was going, oh, my God, Kevin, you got so thin. And Marianne was like, well, you weren't that thin when you were married to me.
That's right.
She was all upset that I wasn't, because
you got relaxed.
Because I always promised her that I would lose weight after we got married, and I never lost the weight. I just kept getting bigger. And now
that's what my ex-husband, when I saw him when we did the paperwork for our home, he goes, that's what you look like now? I go, yep, sorry.
Wow.
So I was 176 pounds when we were married, and when he saw me, I was like 119 and all bone and stressed out.
Yeah.
I was married. My second wife was this bombshell with big boobs, red hair, a 22-inch waist. She was gorgeous. Fire. Gorgeous ass, gorgeous legs, like 5'10". And so we go to divorce court. And when they bring her into divorce court, they had her hair pulled back, no makeup, and her skin was completely white. And I went over and I said, you look like Edgar Winter. I said, what the fuck happened to you? And her lawyer said, you can't go in there looking fabulous.
Yeah.
And they made her look
Even when I was annulled from my wife in Vegas,
awful.
She came in like she was some beaten wife. You know, we got married in Vegas for a night.
Aha!
You know, and then she comes in when I was getting it annulled in court. She was like,
Wait a minute, you got your marriage annulled?
I got my first marriage annulled. I was married in Las Vegas to a woman I didn't know.
How did you do that?
I married her in Las Vegas.
Were you drunk?
I know, but why? I mean,
Or high?
Well, I got married because I was becoming 40, and I would always be not, I'd break up all
cover marriage.
So I said, let me get married to somebody. I just got married because basically I didn't want anybody to think I was gay. So I said, I better get married before I'm 40. So I got married to this woman, and I got married to her, and then the next day I hated her. And I wanted to get rid of her. You know? And she was discussing everything, you know, oh my God, I can't wait to get to the house. I'm going to change everything. And she walked in and she goes, the deer head has to go. And
the deer head. You had a deer head? You were a gay guy with a deer
I
head?
had a deer head over my fireplace. Very Ralph Lauren. It was very Ralph Lauren.
Well, my friend Todd, TK, he meets this beautiful black model in Las Vegas, and they are doing copious amounts of cocaine. And he had gotten some money or something, and he had like 5 or 10 grand, but that's all he had. He'd somehow, his brother sold something from the family and given him the 10 grand. She had some money from a car accident or something. And so they both thought the other one was rich. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't really that big of a deal as a model. They were doing coke and staying in suites, and one would pick up the tab for one night and one would pick up the tab for the other night, and they both thought the other one was rich. And so they decided to get married. And they were married for like a week. And I said, well, what made you get a divorce? He said, well, we ran out of blow. As soon as they ran out of the coke, he said, you know, we were just two horrible people, you know, and she was bipolar, and she tore up the hotel room, and we couldn't pay the bill. We're both out of money, and they throw her in jail. And he goes down and bails her out so he can get an annulment. He had to bail her out to get an annulment.
Well, my annulment cost me like $10,000, and I had the same lawyer that Roseanne had, you know.
Mm-hmm.
$10,000? Yeah, to get annulled. It was
I
really,
thought it was kind of free. You just, we don't want to do this anymore.
No, it's not free.
No.
Not free.
Not free, but kind of free.
Not kind of free either.
Not as expensive as my divorce, but it seems it is more expensive.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So all these people that I send you to book to have on, and we have one of Kevin's friends on today. What
when you take pills and you say yes to things, and I just say, all right, that was a day. There you go.
Who is Jimmy Celeste? Who is that?
He is
friend of Kevin's.
A paparazzi photographer that we talked about on air, and I said I know.
Oh, he goes and takes pictures of the celebrities.
He's also a stand-up comedian and actor, and I've known him for
Wait a minute.
Since 1980.
He's a paparazzi actor, stand-up comedian.
He's a photographer.
He takes pictures of himself. Look at this famous actor right here.
He's a selfie photographer.
That's going to be a thing.
We were talking about the paparazzi, and I said, I know a paparazzi photographer, and you said book him. And I said, okay, I'll book him.
So does he follow people and bother them? Has he been beaten up by somebody?
We can ask him. Ask him anything you want.
No. Do you know some stories? Does he have a camera smashed in his face?
When I was doing like the Grammys and all the stuff I would do in New York for HBO a number of years ago, he was always on the lines, you know.
All right.
So he's freelance.
Well, will he talk? Will he tell stories?
He will tell everything, yes.
All right.
He doesn't work for a company. He's freelance.
At jthomasshow@gmail, where you can email me or call our voice box 24 hours a day, 347-6-SIRIUS, or our line is always open, easiest show in America to get on, 866-99-SIRIUS, which is 866-99-46343, which is too many numbers, but you'll eventually get to us. Dear Jay, the guy Anthony Bosch, who supposedly shot up, what's his name? A-Rod. By the way, they also had the codes for the things he took. You see those codes, Garrett?
What do you mean, like when they wiggle their ear?
No.
No.
They would. A-Rod says he doesn't know the guy and did nothing. There are 560 text messages to the guy, and another 400 or 500 phone calls to a guy that A-Rod says he didn't know, including a text message that purportedly says, get rid of all these messages. And they would use things like
Gummy bears.
blue liquid gummies was one of them, right? The pills and all that stuff. Now, if A-Rod just quits baseball, can they prosecute him for anything?
No.
Can they get him?
No.
For what? He doesn't do anything illegal.
Yeah.
So the stuff that the guy gave him is not illegal in any way, federally or statewide.
Performing enhancing drugs. So they're steroids. So
right. Okay. And the guy pretended to be a doctor.
No, I
know
don't
that?
think so. I think it was kind of
No, it said that. He pretended to be a doctor. Who knows, he called himself
But he's
Dr.
such a
Bob.
liar, A-Rod. I mean, he just won't stop lying. He's like...
But he played this year without taking the drugs, and he's hurting her and he's older, but he did fine when he played. Didn't he lead him through a bunch of wins? Didn't he lead him, Garrett?
He only played like the last month, I think. And
it was more of a distraction, I thought, for the team. Although
so he's going to try and get...
record when he was back. They did.
Some money, to try and get a little money back or play a few games, and then he's done. I mean, if he's really as rich...
He's out for the whole year. He can't...
As I assume he is, if he's really that rich, it would seem like he would just retire and, go back to Puerto Rico and get a beautiful home
But he wanted to go for the home run.
Yeah, he was.
He wanted 800 home runs, and that was possible. He was on track to do that. And with these drugs, it was possible. It was definitely possible. But he got caught.
All right. So people are saying that I look like Anthony Bosch on television. This one guy just sends me this thing, Tiger somebody. Not only does he look like you, but there are segments of him when his hair is heavily gray. Then in news segments, his hair is solid black. That's why he looks like you. Oh. Because my hair will be, 50 shades of gray. In Colorado, officials are removing mile 420 signs to stop thieves from stealing the mile marker on Interstate 70.
Wow.
The Colorado Department of Transportation says the mile 420 sign near Stratton has been stolen. Now they've replaced it with mile 419.99. Now that's ridiculous.
I'd rather
I'd
steal
steal
that.
that
That's
sign.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I
I'd
was
want
reading
that
it. I
sign.
would want that sign.
Yeah. Mile 68.5 is frequently stolen. Mile 69 is also stolen. Christina, try and get somebody on that owns a pharmacy in Denver. The banks won't take their money.
No.
Really?
There's nowhere to take the money.
Bank of America will.
What?
Bank of America will.
No, they won't. Mm-mm.
They take Mexican drug money, cartel money.
Well, that's illegal money. They shouldn't be taking it. And here's the story that I read. This guy leaves the pharmacy with like $60,000 in cash in a brown paper bag and drives to the IRS so that he can declare the money to the IRS and pay the taxes or whatever. And he's nervous as hell and scared to death he's going to get robbed because the banks in Colorado are frightened of the federal government who said marijuana is illegal. And if you take marijuana money and you're under federal auspices of the banking industry, you're breaking the law. I'm not kidding you. That's absolutely true. They have nowhere to bring the money. Oh, and the criminals are just waiting, don't you? Oh, yeah.
I have to put it in the safe.
Yeah.
Turn it into gold.
Vistaprint.com is everything you need to get the word out about your products and your services, and for a limited time only, they're offering 250 premium business cards for only $10. We have them here at the Jay Thomas Show. Christina, do you still have your cards?
I still do.
Yeah. We don't know 250 people. Including shipping, they have quantities up to 5,000, and they have a low price guarantee for their premium business cards. Now, if you're not happy, you can call them up and they'll make it right. Get 250 premium business cards, $10. Shipping is included. Go to Vistaprint.com, put in the promotional code JThomas in the little cart. That's right, to get this offer. So my name goes into a little shopping cart. Vistaprint also has quality paper products for your business, from mats to standard, but you can upgrade to premium glossy, or matte, or regular glossy, or even recycled matte. You can personalize, you can do whatever your heart's content. Change the font, the colors. You can custom your business stuff, papers, everything. They have all kinds of stuff. But for right now, your 250 high-quality premium business cards are just $10. Shipping is included. Vistaprint.com, the promotional code goes in the cart, and it's J. Thomas. That's me. Vistaprint. Get it right away. We'll be right back.
It's the Jay Thomas Show. Jay Thomas. A great way to waste 3 hours. The Afternoon Drive Show.
On Indy. Sirius XM 104.
And on the Sirius XM app for smartphones.
All right, in a few minutes, we will talk about this crazy raid on Justin Bieber's house. And another crazy story, the Southwest airliner that landed at the wrong airport. But actually, they have an excuse. They have an excuse on,
they were high.
On a map. No, they have an excuse, and I'll give you the excuse in a minute. Let's go to Dr. Green on line one. Yes, you say that you own a pharmacy in Colorado, one of these marijuana pharmacies for recreational marijuana. Hello? Dr. Green? Dr. Green? All right, you know what? I don't think that the people that own the pharmacy are doing
Charlie Sheen, is that you?
Do you think they'll wait a minute? Do you think they'll ever change? Hold it. Do you think they'll ever change the name of your pro team there to the Bongos? How about that one there? To the Broncos?
The Broncos.
Here come the Denver Bongos. Here they come.
They don't have to change the Denver Nuggets.
The Denver Nuggets. All right, Dr. Green. What? I don't believe this. Anybody that has anything to do with the drug industry in Colorado. What is it, Dr. Green? Go ahead.
Look at your hands.
What's that? What
We're looking at hands. Yes.
Yes, I'm looking at my hands right now. What about it? Stop it. All right, get rid of him. Get rid of him. Completely get rid of him.
I
Ridiculous.
wonder how much money he had in a paper bag.
I don't know. I have no idea. So Justin Bieber's home, he threw eggs at a car in his neighborhood.
But the amount of damage that he caused was over $20,000 worth of damage to the neighbor's property.
It was some expensive car, and the egg dried on the car. Is that it?
I don't know. $20,000 worth of damage.
Listen. I don't think
Which
the
is
kid's
a drop
gay or
in
whatever.
it's drop in the bucket for him.
I don't think the kid's gay or anything, but he is a
he's
sissy.
Not gay.
But hold on. He's not a tough guy. He is a sissy. And he is a skinny
tough.
sissy.
He's
not tough. And he's got the sleeves, and he tries to dress like he's a tough guy, and he does all this stuff. And I think he's doing it a la Miley Cyrus. Now, Miley Cyrus is half naked and, and it's done great things for her. And I think stuff like this really enhances the sales of Justin Bieber's, music. I don't know why.
So?
Well,
he's kind of a prankster, and, he's really funny, too. So he's got great comic timing, and he's...
well, they busted his door down with a battering ram.
Yeah, they did. I think that's
Why?
It says all he did was throw eggs at their house, and because the house is so expensive to fix any of it would be worth $20,000. It's a fold. Just get a hose and rinse it off.
That's a little
Well,
bit.
wait a
I mean,
minute.
he's a 20-year-old kid, so he threw some eggs at, his wacky neighbor.
yeah.
So what? Deal with it.
He
did throw them
lives.
from a second-story balcony. Those could.
Do you see the mansion he lives in? The guy's like 22 years old or something and has this
19.
incredible. He's 19. I mean, what does he need that place for? I mean, his parents, somebody is, telling him it's okay to build that shit. I mean, that's nuts. That's got to be like a $10 million home? I don't know.
Should he have a studio apartment?
6.5.
No, but a nice.
$20,000 worth of damage to his plaster and stained wood exterior.
See?
Well, if it dried on there, Garrett, you're right. It cost a lot of money.
Yeah, Jay, you have
You
a
gotta-
beautiful home. I can't. If you had eggs splattered all over it, and the kid that did it,
They
to you
wouldn't
is
have
a
to
rich
worry-
pop star, then of course.
Rinse it or
He wouldn't
paint
have to
over
worry.
it. That's it.
No, you
He
go.
would not have
after
to
him.
worry about the police busting his door.
He could come
He
up
would
to
not have to worry.
Forestburg and throw eggs at my house.
Why does everyone have to call the cops? Just deal with your neighbor yourself.
You know what?
You should
I
deal.
said yesterday, have a pellet gun on the ready at all
There
times.
you go.
And pellet that little ninny. Let's go to Shawnee of Boston. Yes, Shawnee, we have less than a minute. That should take him an hour just to say hello. Yes, Shawnee, go ahead.
Gee, I got fired from my job.
Oh
You're
no!
fired from your job.
Yeah, it was my first day as an air traffic controller. Plane landed the wrong airport, and I'm the asshole.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, Shawnee.
got fired there on the Southwest Airlines. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shawnee. Thank you very much. Idiots.
The Jay Thomas Show. For idiots, by idiots. Non-stop idiot action. The Jay Thomas Show. He's the afternoon guy. On Indy. Sirius XM 104. And on the Sirius XM app for smartphones. Indy.
Well, if you have a stock portfolio that you haven't touched in about 8 years, something like that, 7 or like me, it's at even now. So whatever, for many years, I've been putting money into a mutual fund, and then the bottom fell out, and I just looked at because the stock market's so high, I'm now back to even. Isn't that weird?
We're very happy
So
for
that's
you,
good
Jay.
news?
Well, it's better than I mean, I'm talking about it went down to 1/3 its value. From I know, hell yeah, I did. And I just looked.
That was in
and-
2007, right? When I went to.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah,
Here's what's funny. We were selling a great house, beautiful home, and we were, my wife's the decorator and designer, and I'm I know a lot about designing and stuff like that, and so we've been buying and selling and doing all this stuff. And we had this fabulous place in Santa Barbara, and we couldn't sell it. And it was well priced and everything else. I mean, we're talking in the, few $1 million. And I kept going, man, what's going on? And we'd bring, these guys would bring in really rich people. And that's when I knew there was something wrong with the economy. So, I felt it before it happened. Apparently they were already starting to lose money or something. And so I lowered the price, and we ended up selling the thing, and then the crash hit like 6 months later, where the house would have been worth half, right? Maybe I lost, 10% or 15% or something like that. But yeah, I saw it, and then all of a sudden when you open up your little portfolio that, is for your retirement or whatever, it was worth nothing. Went down to nothing. And so if you put anything away, it's back to even. I don't know. That ought to make somebody feel good. I'd rather be back to, so now if it keeps going, I'm talking about stuff's been laying in there for 10, 12 years.
So you lost 10 years on that. Where it
Oh,
should be
yeah, we
going
didn't make
up
any
at
money.
least a few percent every year. But
Yeah, we minus, let's say it was $100,000. It went down to 30, and it would say minus 70, minus whatever, minus, and now it's up back to 100, back to its even, So I don't know what's going to happen, but they said it would take 10 years, and it's 2014. But they said it would take. Do you have a mutual fund or anything like that?
Oh,
Kevin?
sure. Yeah.
That you don't touch.
Well, I took everything out, and I put it in. I chose some other stocks to put it in, and
did you give it to Bernie Madoff?
No. And
it looks like those people are getting their money back. They're getting billions from the banks.
There's still a lot of money that they'll never be able to recover, but. Because they even went after the banks too. The banks.
They went after people that had gotten money from him.
Yeah.
And had sold out like 5 years before. They'd gotten out of it, whatever. And it's called a clawback. And so now they're calling those people up going, you got to give all your money back. And they're going,
that's gotta suck though when they, you go, wow, thank God I got out just in time. I called Bernie and he gave me all my money and I'm safe. I'm in the clear. And then, ding dong, hey, by the way, you can't keep that money.
John Malkovich says that he was ruined financially by Bernie Madoff.
Who's
Did you know
that guy that you interviewed? Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, he never discussed it.
Kevin Bacon. They've probably made most of that money back because he and his wife both have hit shows.
Yeah.
But Malkovich lost $3 million and, gone forever. And maybe he'll get $1 million back or something like that. But he said he was financially ruined by Bernie Madoff.
I should tell people that I was ruined by Madoff. That's what I should.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Jim Celeste is in our studio. Jim, you're a comedian and actor, but I really had you here because Kevin said you were a paparazzi that would take pictures of the stars, and I thought that was interesting. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Great,
Jim?
thank you, and thank you for having me here.
My pleasure.
I wouldn't
Turn his
really
mic up a little. What's that?
I wouldn't really say I'm a paparazzi. Usually I'm at the things
Here we go.
invited.
Well, be
there,
something other than.
Okay, I'm a photographer. No, I
Kevin's-
do that. But I don't lurk in the bushes and take pictures of people on the street.
Well, you should look in the bushes.
I should lurk in the bushes, I know, but I don't do that, unfortunately.
Really? You sound like a pirate. You almost sound like a pirate. You're just like a pirate to me. But here's the weird thing. On this red carpet, like, were you there the other night for the Golden Globes or anything? Well, that was out in L.A.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you still do the red carpet?
No, I do that all the time. I do red carpet all the time.
What was the last red carpet you did?
Well, it's actually for, Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, okay. And
really?
That was here in New York?
Yeah.
And what theater was that?
The Ziegfeld.
The Ziegfeld. They do a lot of premieres at Ziegfeld. Yeah.
How fine is that Australian woman, Robbie, whatever her name is, who played a New Yorker, played a woman with like a Long Island accent? Did you get a picture of that woman, that Robbie woman that plays his girlfriend
Yes,
and
I
then his
did.
wife?
She looked amazing, too.
It is, I want to tell you, I think in the world, I mean this, I think Australia may have some of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen. And when you go to England, the hookers from Australia are gorgeous. They're It's almost like the porno women from, Russia and Croatia. Now, they're unbelievable. The Poles, they're just gorgeous and they need money. They have had no food. And so they'll do everything that the men want. But, she will be a huge star. Was she nice to you? Did she speak to you?
We didn't really talk to her. I didn't talk to her, but she stayed on the carpet and posed. Everybody got their pictures because some people just rush through real quick. And
do you yell at people when they go through?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Like, what's your call?
Amy Adams said she does not like the red carpet. She doesn't mind the award show. She doesn't mind movies, but she's almost gets sick at her stomach. That she's going to have to walk on the red carpet. Isn't that odd?
No, I would too, but Amy Adams was really nice because I did a small screening for American Hustle, and she was there with Christian Bale, and she was very nice. I mean, she stopped and posed. There was only a few photographers there too, because when you walk on the red carpet, it can be pretty intimidating because you got like 50, 60 people screaming at you all at once.
Yeah. Well, so what?
And who's the biggest douche when you
asshole?
Yeah, asshole.
And there's a lot of them.
Look, we want some names.
Well, you're an absolute nobody, and he's brought you in here, and you better be an interesting interview. Because this is a bad day. We don't have anybody worth a shit. You're the only guest I have, and they're listening there in the head office and going, I told you he was no fucking good. That's why he cut his salary all the goddamn time. Listen to that fucking asshole.
Well, De Niro's
fucking
not,
guy
De
who
Niro's
does, you
not
know,
a day
hip
at
hop.
the beach.
No.
De Niro
Who is it?
De Niro's not a day at the beach. He's not
You know
fun
what?
to take pictures of.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
He just goes through quacking he'll do it, but he just walks through and just brushes you off like, you know. But he's making the worst movies ever right now. He's just going for paychecks. I mean, it's not the De Niro we used to know.
He hasn't done a good
well,
movie.
now,
He's
wait a
not the
minute
great
now.
actor. He's not the great actor. I mean, come on.
Well, Meet the Parents is great. That's that.
Well, okay, one and the Fockers. Fockers 4 will be pretty good.
In American Hustle, he really plays a caricature of himself as the mobster from Miami. But he's so good, and it's a small part, and a lot of character actors could have played it, you know, mobster types. But you're right. He's kind of playing a character, and I'm sure they paid him, you know, $1 million for a day's work. You know, he's getting a bit like Marlon Brando, I believe.
Yeah, well, he's even doing that weird commercial for some bank or something where he's sitting in a movie theater. He's got some weird
I haven't
commercial
seen
on
that.
TV. Yeah, it's a weird commercial on TV for some. It's not even a known bank. It's just some unknown bank. He's sitting in a movie theater doing a commercial. I mean, he's just doing things for money right now.
Why does he need all this money?
Grudge Match was brilliant, but
was it good?
No. Who would?
No, terrible, right?
I don't think I would ever see that. I think I'll be on my deathbed and go, oh man, I forgot to see Grudge Match.
Did you? Did they have the premiere here, Grudge Match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Now, do you work for some?
You know,
it could have. You know
something. It could have been good, and the previews were really good, and Alan Arkin seemed funny. And
Alan Arkin is great.
Alan Arkin's always funny though. Kevin Hart too, but they just show you the good parts in previews.
Right. So now you've been on this red carpet line for a long time. Many people want to know: do you guys all have to like run away immediately and sell the individual pictures? I mean, how do you make a living if 50 or 60 of you are taking the same pictures?
See, me, I'm more fortunate than the others because I'm like on the clock. I'm like, you know, I work for a company.
Do you work for Getty?
No, I don't work for Getty. I work for Patrick McMullen, who pretty much started the whole New York party photography scene. He started back at the studio 54 days.
So you don't own your picture?
I don't own the pictures. He owns them.
Oh.
And I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm on the clock. But some of these guys, like right now, like with somebody like Getty, they'll have 8, 9 photographers out there on the thing. Because it's not only is Getty, it's Film Magic and Wire Image. That's all Getty. So like you have them all lined up right next to each other. So I don't know how any of these guys make any money, to tell you the honest God truth.
When you say there's 8 or 9 of them, do they make what, $50 a night? What do they make?
Who knows? If it's all on sales, who knows? Something might clean up. They might get a picture like Amy Adams.
So out of the 50 pictures, Getty is a big. I had to buy a headshot from Getty for like $300. I couldn't believe it. It's a picture of me. And I wanted to get it offline, and I had to pay money for it.
Yeah.
And you didn't like the picture?
I did like the picture, and I wanted to use it, but I couldn't because I didn't know.
Because you didn't own the picture of yourself. That is so insane.
No, Getty's pretty much taken over the photo business in the country, in the world.
Yeah, what about the people that do it for, like, you know, the people that don't belong to, that aren't hired by a company that, like, you're hired from or from Getty or somebody that just goes out there with a camera and gets a great shot of, you know, Robert De Niro? Can they go sell that picture to somebody?
Yeah,
where would you sell that to?
But that they have an agency, that they're affiliated with somebody like that didn't know anybody, then they might call up Getty and say, I got a picture, and then Getty would bring. Everybody knows that Getty.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, that's how they would do it. And there's so many other agencies out there. There's some really good guys that are smaller, more of a boutique agency like a Patrick McMullen, like this other agency, Star Pictures, which is great, that does all the movie premieres. And then like AP has a segment called Envision for celebrity.
Do they send you, you travel at all with them? Or you just basically stay in New York?
There's people, we got people in Los Angeles, we got people in San Francisco, and so there's, like a lot of my friends did go out to the Golden Globes, but they're with Getty, and they're like the main salaried guys with Getty.
Yeah.
You know, I did a movie with Lindsay Lohan, and these Croatian guys or something that live in the valley. It's their section, and they have these little like Hondas, little souped up Hondas, and they're almost like a gang, and they were taking pictures of Lindsay Lohan and her manager and girlfriend or whatever, and the manager woman comes out and makes a deal with them that don't take pictures of her smoking, and they will give them 20 or 30 minutes every day to take pictures of her. And then they'll be taking pictures and all this kind of stuff, and then she goes back in, and all of a sudden their cell phones ring. They jump into their little souped-up, Hondas or whatever they are, and they ride off, and they're all on the freeways going crazy because they found out somebody's coming out of something else. Now, who do they sell those pictures to?
They're part of like agencies like Splash. There's so many agencies in L.A. that do this type of stuff. It's gotten out of control now. I can't even think of all the agencies that there are. There's London Features, there's Splash.
What about the Inquirer? How do you sell pictures to the Inquirer?
Through different agencies like Getty sells. Like Getty has, here's another thing, Getty has a lot of solicitor rates where magazines buy pictures exclusively from Getty.
Okay.
Other people, Rolling Stone, they go out, people actively sell pictures. Agencies are selling all the time. Yeah. But
I'm going to ask you a question. JimCeleste.com. You have pictures of stars on your JimCeleste.com? You have that?
Few, not really. JimmyCeleste.com is just pretty much, I made that a long time ago. I haven't updated it or anything.
Just a picture of you there? Just you?
There's a picture of me and
your dog. You have your dog there.
I think the dog's there. Me and Bill Clinton's there.
Oh, good. So, here's how I feel. I'm not a big movie star or whatever, but if I'm someplace and I make a living because of my image, and you take a picture of me, and it's unflattering, or I don't want my picture taken, and then you sell my image, that I make a living, using my image, acting, television, whatever, I think that should be against the law. I do not think that you should be able to use my image. You can't use a person's book. You can't plagiarize somebody's writing just because an actor or an entertainer is not singing at that moment or acting at that moment
I think they're trying to pass that law right now. Who are the two actors?
Well, Jimmy, it would put you out of business except for the red carpet. But
I do a lot of parties. There's a lot of things that we do. I do a lot of parties, events.
But it would put the paparazzi in neighborhoods out of business. How do you feel about a law like that?
It's like a lot of guys make their living like that. Some people are pretty good about the guys that just chase people down and are relentless. Like all the guys that surrounded Alec Baldwin. I have nothing. I'm totally on Alec Baldwin's side on this thing because these guys just torment them. Something like that should be a law. You can't just swoop on people like that. It's like the knockout game.
Right. I don't know
what fun to play, by the way, if you've never played it.
The knockout game. I don't know what they would do or how it would be, but to me, when they take a film of Alec Baldwin, when he's in a film, it's copyrighted and you have to pay to go see him or buy it online or whatever. And yet here his image comes up coming out of his house with his daughter, and that he doesn't own that image, and I think that's wrong.
And that's also out on the public streets too. Can you just take a picture?
Yeah, people on the public street, you can just take a picture because it's in public,
But you can't put that. You can't take a picture of me out on the street and then put it in a magazine.
They can. That's where they get all those pictures.
No, you can't, because on the news, whenever they're doing a fat story, it's always the people's waist. They don't show their face. When
but that's people that nobody knows, like somebody that has a celebrity.
Oh, the celebrity.
A celebrity, because people know who it is and people want to see it because people are just.
Now, wait a minute. No, wait a second. If we're shooting a TV show out in front of a theater, and I'm doing a man on the street thing, and hello, Bob, how are you? This, that, and the other. There is somebody going around through the crowd, getting them to sign a release.
Yes.
Yep.
Because they may get on camera for Fox News or for CNN or whatever, and I've been a part of that my entire life. If they give that right to an average person on the street, why doesn't a celebrity have that right?
Jimmy?
I don't
Lawyer
really know, to
Jimmy?
be perfectly honest, because I've never really been in that part of the game.
Right.
But, you know, like, there's a lot of things, because it's somebody that you know, and they're on the street and you can take their picture. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not really going to be the devil's advocate here. But
well, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. You'd have to sign a release.
That's because it's just an average person that is just, you know, because they don't want to be sued for getting their picture on a TV show. Whereas a celebrity is just a still or a video or something, and they're selling it to somebody that has rights for it, like a TMZ, which I think is really a disgusting show. I mean,
right.
No, I think that kind of stuff like that. What's that guy's name in L.A.? In L.A., they've gone over the top of this. They'll hire convicts getting out of prison and give them a camera just to, you know, hustle pictures. Which I don't think, I mean, hiding up in on top of a mountain with an 800 millimeter lens to shoot somebody's wedding out on a boat 20 miles away. I mean, that you shouldn't do that stuff. I mean, come on. That is an invasion of privacy, but it's
absolutely
allowed. It's allowed. I agree.
It is allowed.
I agree.
It is.
And some people too, though, also, like you see them on the streets and you take the picture, it's just nice. They figure, okay, this comes with the game. And they're nice about it. But also see people like celebrities, like let's say Robin Williams. People will shoot him walking down the streets, and he's good about it, but he's so good about it, nobody wants his picture because he gives it to you so easily. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what? That's
you can't
yeah,
tell
you know what? And Robin isn't walking out of a rehab center.
Yeah.
He's walking down the street. He looks healthy. Nobody looks healthy. He's not, you know, fighting with somebody or whatever. So you're right. It's boring. The sad one is when you've just gotten off a plane from Europe and they get you.
Like Dennis Rodman coming back yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, from.
How'd he look? How did Dennis?
He looked insane. You know,
it's a long flight.
Here's something too that I saw a picture of Zac Efron at a Knicks game wearing his medallion, his AA medallion around his neck.
Oh.
And that's just posing. I mean, Zac Efron's a poser. He's just doing, oh look, I'm in rehab, you know, posing. And that because you know he's in recovery. He's called anonymous. He's not
why would you wear your?
He's not supposed to. He's just trying to show. Maybe he's getting some producer to say, okay, we can hire him again because he's not getting hired.
Oh, good idea.
He might be doing that just posing to get the girl.
How old?
He's got 3 months in rehab.
So 3 months, do you get the medallion?
No, you get one at a month. You can get one every day.
What one was he
Wait
wearing?
a minute. You go into rehab and they give you a medallion.
In AA,
they give you a chip, like a year coin, a 30-day coin, a 90-day coin, you know, like that.
I got a lot of
he's
coins.
wearing it around his neck like it's no.
Well, in the movie, in the famous movie and play, Come Back Little Sheba, in it, Burt Lancaster goes to rehab, and they have birthday parties. They have birthday parties for people, 2 years, 3 years, you know, and there's his wife going, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, Daddy. I'm so proud of you, Daddy."
Shirley Booth,
wonderful.
right?
Yeah, Shirley Booth.
Yeah.
And they give him a little cake and everything else, you know. And then, of course, he falls off the wagon and threatens her with a knife later on. Or you wouldn't have a play. You really wouldn't have a play. Well, Jimmy Celeste, thank you for coming in.
I have one
Jimmy,
question. Sorry.
JIMICeleste.com. Yes, Gary, go ahead.
I had a friend that started. He had a sort of professional photography setup with the umbrellas and the lights, and he would ask girls to, you know, model website to come over, and they would have him take their pictures, and he would say like 50% of them would be like, "I'll take my clothes off," and then he'd be having sex with them, and I never knew to believe him or not. If this is a thing with photographers.
Yes, Jimmy.
That can happen.
It can. So
that can happen, but it all depends too on the person. Just like in any situation.
But it is possible. It seems so outrageous to me that
That's
these girls...
possible for me, too,
Garrett,
Garrett.
I have told you, Garrett.
It's very possible.
Now, we really had a script, and we really thought we were going to make a movie. But when I first moved to New York, we set up, you know, one of those big, giant video cameras in a bedroom and put, like, paper up, and
but this is
they would take their clothes off. They would do anything
because that was like they're going to be in a movie or something. This guy would just
but there
say,
was no movie.
Come
we
over and
didn't
I'll
have
take
any
your
money.
picture. And they'll be like, okay, you could take my picture and now let me get naked. There was no like, you're going to better my career. He's not like a photographer that could get them somewhere or anything. They would just like want the picture taken and then blow him or something.
He might have been a good-looking guy and able to pick up girls.
Is he a good-looking guy?
Not really. He has like burns on his legs and stuff. That's why I always find it hard to...
He's a burn victim.
Yeah, that's nice.
I didn't know if like it was some weird thing.
Well, maybe. Well, he didn't wear. Well, let me ask you. He didn't wear shorts during the shoot, did he, Garrett?
Maybe. He's not
wore long
embarrassed
pants.
about his legs.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's it. He had confidence.
I guess that's
all
what
it
There
takes.
you go. He has
That's all it
confidence.
takes is
That's right.
confidence.
Yes.
That's
That's the key, confidence.
all right.
Like of
And
all the
Jimmy,
pictures.
you were a comic and an actor and all that kind of
Jimmy's
stuff.
a great
You-
comic. I started off with him in 1980 at the Holy City Zoo in San Francisco.
Yep.
And you decided
to have a beard.
That was the name of the club, the Holy City Zoo. And Robin
and
Williams
you decided
was there.
to leave the traveling so you could take care of your dog that you rescued. Is that
Pretty much it. You got a dog and
that's
was
it.
either go on the road or take care of the dog, and the dog went
Really?
out.
You gave up your career to take care of a dog.
Well, you've been doing taking pictures for over 20 years now, though.
About 15, 14, 15 years. You know.
Okay.
I mean, it's a job.
All right.
That's just it. It's not like I'm a photographer when I went to school, or it was an aspiration of what I wanted to be when I grew up. It's just something that kind of fell out of my butt and happened.
Yeah.
Can you do Instagram filters without Instagram?
No, I mean, I haven't even really gotten into Instagram. So many people, I don't understand.
Does it annoy
Instagram.
you that everybody is a photographer now? It seems.
Oh yeah, that's everybody. Like,
Well, I was,
the
I
Fashion
went out
Week
last
coming
night.
up. You get people
Yeah.
with iPads pushing you out of the way to get pictures because they're bloggers. My Aunt Irma's going to read my blog every Saturday, so I got to take this picture. I'm a blogger, and so you got people pushing you out of the way with their iPhones and iPads and holding them up in the air. And come on, I spent $6,000 on a camera.
Well, I was with a guy last night. He takes pictures of golf courses, and he's taking pictures of golf courses all over the world for their brochures and everything else. And that business has gotten terrible. And he said because some girl from the office, they want a new picture of the course.
Yeah.
She goes down with her phone.
Yep.
And
adds little
takes
filters,
pictures,
and it's all.
takes a picture with the light good, and they pick one of them. And then he says to me, "I want to get into the voiceover business," And he has a bit of an Irish accent. And I said, "Really?" He says, "What should I do about that?" I said, "Look, if I said to you, I want to get into the golf course
Design business.
photography business, what advice would you give me?" I would say it's dead. I would go, well, the voiceover business is dead, so you're not going to be able to, get into that. So.
He'll probably end
All
up
right,
being
well,
the
look.
biggest voiceover guy in the world.
Jimmy, Jimi, Celeste.com. Thank you very much. And when's your next red carpet? Do you know?
Probably I'm doing some art opening thing this week. Probably next week. It's real slow right now because everybody's out in L.A. for the Globe, so there's not really much happening right now.
Did you ever catch a nipple or a upskirt shot?
Once in a while.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. If you're quick. You just take and keep it for your own private stash.
Yeah, there you go. Put a piece of Swiss cheese on your dick and just go at
Exactly like that guy in Philadelphia.
it. There, everybody knows about it.
Philadelphia
Everybody
cream
knows it.
cheese. Yeah, he's working that. Then there's that other guy another guy got caught doing something. Oh, did you see a picture of somebody in London masturbating on the trains there? And you got a picture of some guy in London that's trying to catch him. Oh.
He put I think a kipper on his penis. Whatever a kipper is, I don't even know what that piece of fish. I think I know.
Yeah,
Jimmy Celeste, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Kevin,
Jay.
thank you for bringing your buddy in and telling us the behind the scenes of photography. We'll be right back.
Jay Thomas Show. Every day something new, something bizarre for you for now. The Afternoon Drive Show.
On Indy. Sirius XM 104.
And on the Sirius XM app for smartphones.
At Santander Bank, our customers like to be rewarded. So, open an extra 20 checking account, and we'll send you to a Robert De Niro marathon with Robert De Niro.
Have you seen this one?
No, but I'm excited to.
Spoiler alert. Everybody dies. My character's lifeless. Lifeless.
He was just killed.
That's no excuse. He's lifeless. Okay.
Mi dispiace, ma non.
That's Italian. Whole different language.
Is it?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Marty? Marty Caulfield, my plumber. What's up? My performance is wooden. I'm like a coffee table. I'm like a canoe. I'm like a tree. Too big, too dull, too small. I should have been fatter.
I can't.
Oh, who shushed me? Did you shush me? That wasn't acting. I punched him in the face.
On second thought, forget De Niro. We'll pay you $20 every month instead. Just use direct deposit and online bill pay. Extra 20 checking. Get your account today. Santander, a bank for your ideas.
That's wild. I mean, first of all, I think it's a good commercial, but that's got to be $1 million to get Robert De Niro to be in your new bank commercial. Good God!
Wow.
I didn't think that was a terrible commercial.
It's no Regis and Kelly with TD Bank, but
they're the best.
I cannot bring it up, but a cop. And I wanted to do. I can't. Send it to me again, Christina, about the cop and the cop in the movie theater. Send that to me again.
He was so upset.
The police that raided Justin Bieber's home are looking for eggs in his refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they broke into his home.
no.
Come on.
Organic eggs.
He has video surveillance, so they're getting the video of that, and then they're going to go through.
Oh, is that it? And they want to see if he has eggs in his refrigerator also.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. The city of Omaha, Nebraska is sending Peyton Manning a commendation because when he calls out signals, he yells, Omaha, Omaha, Omaha. Yeah. And they're going to use it and promote the city of Omaha, Nebraska, which needs a lot of promotion. I've been there. I was a sports announcer years ago and did basketball games, a couple of them in Omaha. Oh, my God. Maybe it's better now. But
they say he said it 44 times during Sunday's game.
Wow. Well, Warren Buffett lives there, has never left Omaha, has the same little house. Here's a guy who is
he has the same little house that he always had?
Yeah. And here's the other weird thing.
I bet he doesn't get a suite when he goes to a hotel. He probably just gets a regular room.
His wife, and she had a best friend forever, and Warren began an affair with his wife's best friend.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, the wife either found out about it or thought it was okay, and Warren Buffett's wife moved to San Francisco, and then her best friend moved into that nondescript house in Omaha, and Warren's wife passed away, and I believe Warren is with the best friend. Kind of odd, right?
Yeah.
Kind of strange.
I bet
Omaha
she got
Steaks.
Did she finally divorce him, or she
no.
died? You think he killed her?
No, she kind of. Maybe their marriage was over, and he found comfort with the best friend.
Maybe
I don't
it
know.
worked out nice. He seems like a nice man, though, Warren Buffett.
Tom Brady has been known to say Omaha also.
Eli Manning does constantly.
Well, he says Sally Alpha, Kentucky.
Who?
He says a lot of Sally Alpha, Kentucky, or some of the words. I remember when all of those are audibles, right? And it's usually a hot
What would you
letter.
say when you were a quarterback?
Well, I remember we when we wanted to change a play, we would say it'll be something with an L, starts with an L. Okay, so you would yell Louisiana, you would yell Louis, Louis, Louis. Okay, and that would be you were going to change the play. And other times you would yell stuff, but it is not a hot letter. So you would yell, Mary, Mary, Mary means nothing. It means nothing. So the defense hopefully would not figure out that for that half anyway, the L word was the hot word. For some stupid reason, I thought the state of Illinois started with an L. Illinois. And, for some reason, it wasn't an I to me. I don't know why. And, of course, I'm, bloodied. My teeth are out. I'm, guys are on
you're
top
a bleeder.
of me. Yeah, I'm a bleeder. But whatever I called, I ran right into the defense. And I get in the huddle, and I go, didn't you hear me? And they went, what? I went, you idiots. I yelled Illinois. The guy goes, it starts with an I, asshole. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it looks like an L, sometimes. So that's what they're doing. Or they're pointing out an offense to you. the defense to you. Now, here's the other crazy thing. The center on the line, he's calling out blocking assignments, while Peyton Manning is calling out audibles. And on the other side of the line, the linebacker is calling out signals. So you've got to really focus when you're down there. It's got to be confusing after a while. So Garrett, you pretend you're the center. Okay? And you're going to call some signals. No, you're going to be the linebacker. You want to be the center?
Yeah, I want to be the center.
All right. You're the center.
Okay.
And we're about to go to the line, and you're going to be yelling. You're going to be yelling signals. My hands are going to be right between your legs.
I know that. I know
pressing your nuts straight up with my knuckles. And so you're going to be yelling signals. And Garrett, you're the linebacker on the other side, and you're going to be yelling stuff that you're seeing, and I'm the quarterback.
Okay.
So I'm in the huddle.
Okay.
I call the play.
We go break.
Great. We get to the line. Omaha!
Go
left!
Back in coverage! Back in coverage! All right, to the left, watch the screen, here we go!
Great! Oh,
No,
God!
those aren't signals. Those aren't
Penetration up the middle. Woo!
Oh, that was fun. Let's play football again.
Let's
Let's do another round.
They're
Another
showing
play.
this cop that shot people in a theater, and it looked like he was
we don't
in a
know
dress.
about it. I don't know the story.
Was he not in a dress?
Was it are you sure it's not a kilt?
That wasn't a dress.
It looked like a prom dress. It had like the straps and it was tight around his chest.
No.
He was showing arm, yes.
He was full arms, yeah.
Yeah. Big old Michelle Obama arms he had.
Yes.
All right, you know what? Let's do Cool Cop. All right, I haven't done this in a long time.
Oh, feels so good to hear this.
Because we really haven't had a good
Cool Cop.
early. Cool Cop. Cool Cop. A retired Tampa police officer was charged with second-degree murder on Monday for shooting two people in a movie theater over an altercation of texting. In Pasco County, Florida, 71-year-old Curtis Reeves shot Chad Olson and his wife Nicole to death during the Mark Wahlberg film Lone Survivor. Oh, God.
How ironic.
They would not stop texting. Mr. Reeves asked Olson to stop texting. Reeves reportedly shot the couple at Cobb's Theater Grove 16 in Wesley Chapel, Florida, near Tampa, before being subdued by an onlooker. Chad Olson, 43, was shot in the chest, and his wife was shot in her hand. He was pronounced dead, and she's going to survive. She's going to survive. Now, the incident will now ignite a debate about movie theater security 18 months after the ridiculous killings in Aurora, Colorado at that multiplex with that guy. So you've been listening to Cool Cop. There you go. All right.
Apparently the cop, told him to stop. He didn't. The cop left and went to get a manager, came back without anybody.
And killed him.
But it was during the previews. Like, I could see during the movie.
I could shoot somebody during the movie, but not during the previews.
And the guy said, he turned around and he was like, I'm texting my 3-year-old. I think it was some kid thing. And he just.
So when someone's texting, it's the screen that was bothering the policeman? It was.
Yeah, they're pretty bright, the screens.
Yeah,
and so he didn't like the brightness of the screen, and it was bothering his viewing of the preview.
How does he feel about the brightness of the movie theater screen? It's only during the previews.
But that's what you're there.
Yeah, but it's previews. You have up.
Well, I wonder how he's going to handle the brightness of those searchlights at the prison when he's put away. He's going to go to jail for life.
Oh yeah,
he killed him. He killed him.
No,
what's that?
To pull a gun out? Are you kidding? That's a
71
crazy
years old. He's probably gone through life dealing with assholes that have to text during the movie for so long, and it's finally just like the straw that broke his back.
But he paid for a senior citizen ticket. It's not even like he's paying full price.
But why can't people just respect other people, type of thing? And he's been a cop. He's probably been shit upon constantly by And
So that
he's
gives
just
him the
done-
right to, walk
Shoot
into a
him.
theater,
not the
theater
right.
and
I'm
kill
not saying
somebody?
the right, but I could feel where he's coming from. Like eventually, it just builds up.
No,
You're
you
like,
have
okay,
to
No,
someone has
then
to
you
pay.
then you go away forever. You don't go out into public
Then-
with your gun.
Yeah, but I'm sure he felt a little bit of
I
retribution.
tell you what,
Like, yes.
I keep
You know what
my
he
eye
did
on
after?
him.
You know what he
You know
did
what,
after-
Garrett? I'd keep my eye on him at the prison during movie night. I would have my eye on him the whole time.
You know what he did after he shot the guy?
What?
He went over, he sat down quietly, and he had the gun on his lap. And he just waited for somebody
See?
to have
That's
him
a
get
sign
him.
of someone that's like.
He said, well, I did it.
Here's what I think. I think
Sign
the
of a
cop is really
psychopath.
sick of
Yeah,
it.
sign of a
He's sick
psychopath.
of it.
Thank you.
He's sick of his marriage.
Oh, yeah.
He's angry about a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's gonna
probably
be
gay.
okay. No, it's
Could be.
okay with
Could be
him.
the dress.
That no, you know what's sad, and I said this before. That's the last choice people make, Kevin. Okay, being gay. That's the final. They don't make that choice. Okay. I mean, look at you. You hid from it for like 30 years. Okay. That, you know, a word to the wise is sufficient on this issue. But he's going to go to jail. He's going to get 3 squares a day, and that's
Which
it.
is way too much food. Okay, you don't need 3
Well,
meals
whatever.
a day. Unless
Whatever.
one of your meals is an orange, and another meal
He'll
is
work
like a
in the
hard-boiled
laundry.
egg.
Well, it's in Florida. They don't have lots of oranges. He'll work in the laundry, and now here's the bad thing: if they find out he's a cop in prison, they will kill him. They do not like the cops in prison. In fact, when they put a cop in prison, they change his name and they do a lot of stuff to protect them.
Now, I met a guy last night that worked for the Hillary campaign and just got out of jail. He went there because there was some money exchanged during the Hillary thing, right? And he went to jail. And so he was there. It was up at the show last night. He had gotten out of jail. He was going back to jail to visit the guy that used to protect him. And this guy that would protect him was this big white guy, and he was this Jewish guy. And the big white guy would only let one person at a time fight this guy. He wouldn't let everybody gang up on him. He goes, okay, you can fight him, but just one at a time. And
And would the little Jewish criminal fight the people?
Yes, he would. He was tough. And I said to him, what? You're not that big of a guy. He goes, I'm tough. Believe me, I can take anybody on. I mean, he was really stocky. He was probably
wait a
about
second.
200.
Where did you meet this person?
This was I did this show last night for the legislature up in.
Oh, that's right.
In Albany. And
How did that go?
Governor Cuomo and his chief of staff and my friend Randy Credico helped get this guy out of jail. And he's a really good guy. I mean, he went to jail basically, he's the fall guy for somebody, in the Hillary campaign,
I never heard of anybody going to jail for Hillary
Yeah.
Clinton.
It was for,
people always ask me, they say,
you don't hear a lot of things.
I mean, I have no interest in her whatsoever, none. And the other night I got in a big kind of an argument with my wife and a bunch of people. I think the fact that she never left Bill Clinton, to me, weakened her. I think that when someone embarrasses you like that, and she knew what he was like.
I think they
well,
worked
she
it
never
out.
she never made a statement, and I don't think they've spoken in 5 or 6 years.
I disagree with you on that. I think they worked it out, and I think they know where the relationship is, and they have a working relationship. It's kind of like
be
the
with
relationship
somebody
that
so
I
that
have
you
with
can
Marianne.
have a political career is stupid. To me, that's. I don't know. I just find that to be ludicrous.
Like the relationship I have with my ex-wife, Marianne. We have a wonderful working relationship, and but
You're not married
we're
anymore.
not married anymore, but we get along, we agree, we raise our daughter together.
That would be okay with me. Christina, if a man embarrassed you internationally,
Done
like
forever.
Bill Clinton, what's that?
Done forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. There's no
Absolutely.
coming back from that.
Well, I'm saying I
When I
embarrassed
was-
And be
Marianne.
friends
When
later.
I
Be
was-
friends later.
When I was in
Yeah.
college and I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me
Oh,
Right.
because he was 21, able to go to the bars, and I was not. My first question was, "Who saw you?" That was the biggest thing that I was worried about, because I was so worried about being embarrassed, like played for a fool.
Yeah. That's Italian. That's it. You know what? That is Sicilian.
yeah, that is.
Oh, that is.
Absolutely. Who saw
And you
you?
know
Who
what?
saw
First
you?
question out of my mouth. He looked at me like, "Are you
Who saw
crazy?"
you?
I said, "Who saw you?"
How
Let's say
dare
that
you,
I
huh?
find out, let's say that I found out that my wife was having an affair. We live in a small town. and I find out my wife's having an affair. Anger over the affair is one thing. The second thing is the embarrassment that people know about it. And I would go into wherever he was and confront him and want to put him down to overcome the embarrassment of the affair. It would go way past the fact that he was screwing my wife. Way past. That I would recover from if no one knew about it. That's fine. You're right. It's the embarrassment. That's what I would care
How
about.
did you deal with your wife on the show the other day when you got home?
She didn't say a word. My wife
She
is
didn't say
stoic.
anything?
My wife is stoic.
Never mentioned it?
My wife doesn't say a word about anything. Nothing. When I got home yesterday, she had all of the furniture. My kids will come on and tell you this. She rearranges all of the furniture about every 90 days in our home. And Christina's been to our home, and so she is a designer without a job right now, and so she redesigns our home every 90 days. Yesterday, all of our furniture, everything, is outside in the backyard, everything. And I walk into the house. Christina, do you remember what color the walls of my Adobe home were?
I don't remember, but there was a lot of, it was such a beautiful home, but I don't remember the color
A lot
of the
of cream
walls.
colors.
No.
They
It
are
was
white.
it was very natural.
No, the walls are white. They are Adobe. They are white. So my wife has all of the furniture out in the yard. I come home from work.
Who moves it?
She does.
Like big couches and stuff?
She'll do all kind of
in
stuff.
great
Yeah,
shape,
crazy.
You have those little casters you put on. You just kind of roll it out.
All that stuff. And, not all the big, heavy stuff. But we have a guy named Angel who's worked for us for years. And Angel is a
Angel here.
No. Angel is not a citizen.
Huh.
Angel always has a new truck.
Wow.
Always has a bank account and everything else.
Weird.
But our contractor,
You want
who
some
Angel
Mr.
works
Thomas?
for,
Jesus?
he never has a truck, never has a do anything. He's broke all the time. Not Angel. Angel has 2 or 3 kids and he lives illegally in the United States. Wonderful guy. My wife says, I go, what's going on? She goes, Angel's coming tomorrow and for 3 days to repaint the interior of the house. I go, it's white. She goes, well, it's dirty now. And it isn't. It doesn't look dirty. It looks white. And she said, remember when, you said you could smell oil or something in the kitchen? I said, yeah, after I, had surgery and my olfactory senses were screwed up by the medicine, yeah, I could smell it. I can't smell. She said, well, that's because there's oil in the, from cooking and all that stuff. And so at this very moment, my entire house, which is already white inside, white, is being painted white. And I did mention to her...
Not a new color?
No.
No, back to
white. Okay.
So no
to
difference.
me, you could have gotten a cloth with when
was the last time it was painted?
7 years ago, 7 years ago.
That's
wait a minute. You could have gotten a cloth.
Color.
Yeah.
You could have gotten a cloth with water and bleach in it. Bleach. And you could have wiped the walls down, and I think the white would have come back anew. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't say anything. So now I think I said something about I said, the reason why I called you on the air is that what do we call about
the
dog? Oh yeah, about the cat about the dog being eaten by the coyote. My wife gets tears in her eyes. And she says, oh my God, I saw David on his bicycle riding around the neighborhood looking for the dog because once years ago the dog had gone down to the beach or whatever and was like lost. And she said he was right. So she didn't mention the radio show. She mentioned that the guy who lost the dog was riding his bike and crying looking for the dog. That's all she mentioned. That was it. No, she didn't say a word. Nothing. And it's great sometimes, but there are other times. And of course, I talk all the time. And she can't stand it. Can't stand it. And it's a real problem. But You know, and when I say, and even the kids, you know, they'll go, Dad, what are y'all doing? I go, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, you know. And here's another thing. You're in the room and you've just said something and you look up. I don't know if your wife did this to you or not, and she's gone from the room like a ghost, like she was never there. Yeah. And you're sitting there and my kids will be in the room with me and they'll go, Dad, she didn't even answer you. I go, I know. And where'd she go, Dad? I go, I don't know.
Move it on.
Here's the other one. My wife never says goodnight.
Oh,
it could be 8 o'clock. It could be 9 o'clock. It could be 10:30, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just look down the hall and I see that the lights are off in her bedroom, and that's it. Now, remember, I sleep in that bedroom, too, but we've always called it her bedroom. We share a bathroom for the first time in over 20 years. We share a bathroom because they had to downsize. But
is this some sort of conservation of energy? Like, why should I walk all the way downstairs to tell Jay goodnight and then walk all the way back upstairs and go to bed?
Right, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a logical reason in her mind for it.
It's not like out of hatred or something.
That may be it, too. There could be some of that. Yeah, there could be some of that. Tired of him.
God, I'm not even going to say goodnight to him. I'm going to lock the door.
Yeah, or is she doing it hoping you notice?
So I've been all beat up for
I haven't said goodnight.
3 months. 3 months I've been sleeping on the couch and everything else because I can't sleep. My neck was killing me, all that. So now I get back in the bed, and I'm just back after a few months. Middle of the night, about a week ago.
9.
Get out, you're snoring. I go, I don't snore. I've never. Well, you're snoring now. Get out. So I get my blanket, I get a pillow, and I go sleep on the couch. So I'm out there on the couch, and she comes back after a week or two, and she's, okay, look, this is ridiculous. I'll put earplugs in, I'll do something, come back and sleep in the bed. So I go back and I sleep in the bed.
You know?
Well, wait a minute. I do meditation before I go to sleep, and I meditate not to snore. This sounds crazy because I'm so nervous.
Is this
about
transcendental meditation?
I don't know. And I haven't snored.
Oh, no kidding.
Since I did. Yeah, I wake up the next day and I go, hey, did I snore last night? She goes, no, you didn't. You didn't snore. Isn't that weird? Yeah.
So you pleased her?
Oh, yeah. And I get to touch her arm every now and again.
Yeah. Wow. Sexy.
You know, doing stuff. So then I talked about having sex and she goes, ooh, your neck looks weird.
You should wear just like a scarf around your neck. You know,
your neck looks weird. And I don't have any saliva, and I'm trying to get my taste buds back. So
you can't be making out.
My breath is funky, and I'm always spraying stuff in my mouth. And she goes, let's wait till you get more right, more. Maybe when your fluids are better.
So this massage didn't even help today?
No. Justin of New Jersey, you called. What did you call about? We have about a minute. Go ahead, Justin of New Jersey. Yes, sir.
I'm a little concerned for, Christina and Ira and anyone else that's in the studio with Garrett. He just said that overly texting in a movie is a justification for being shot. Does that concern you at all?
Yes, that was very odd, I thought. I thought that was unusual.
I'm not there.
I'm 3,000 miles away, so I could care less.
I never hit my girlfriend, but you can understand why people have at times.
You're saying you never hit your girlfriend, but you might have bodies in your basement or something.
Maybe.
Very good, Justin. You're absolutely correct. They should be in fear of their lives. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm not worried.
The Jay Thomas Show. The afternoon drive show.
Indy.
Sirius XM 104.
And on the Sirius XM app for smartphones.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I can't wait till the Winter Olympics in, is it Sochi? Is that how they're saying it? Sochi. And NBC is spending, I think it's NBC, somebody's spending $1 billion to bring them. Well, the Chechens, who are Muslims, light-skinned, white light-skinned Muslims are as angry as any Middle Eastern Muslim.
Now, why are they angry?
Because the Russians, who hate the Jews and who hate the Muslims also, deprived them of their rights for a long, long time. I mean, Stalin killed over 20 million of his own people, many more than Hitler did. And many of them Jews, and many of the Jews that are in Israel now came from Russia. And if you weren't a Russian Orthodox, of course, a religion was, outlawed by the Communist Party, but they would accept Russian Orthodox, which is a form, I guess, of Catholicism at some point.
That's the crazy Orthodox Catholics. Yeah, they're crazy.
So what he did is he would overwhelm, the Iron Curtain. He would overwhelm groups of individuals, and they're very tribal. So he went in and where the Chechens were, killed millions of them, and made them, put them under, his reign. And even after they, I don't know if you call it democracy or whatever the hell it is, even after the Russian the empire was broken up, they kept Chechnya under their thumb, and they're Muslims. And so what do? They came and they took an elementary school and they killed over 200 people, children, teachers, everyone. And there's horrifying stories written about it. And they've blown things up, and they are as vicious as Al Qaeda is in the Middle East. So now they're going to have this Olympics, and the Chechens say they're going to teach the world a lesson, and that they're going to kill people at the Olympics. They have been leaving bodies everywhere. Have you read about this? Mm-hmm. They've been leaving bodies all around.
Didn't they blow up the train station?
Yeah. They left 6 bodies east of Sochi. Is that how you're saying it?
Sochi. Yeah.
The bodies of 6 slain men have been found in 4 cars in the region of Russia where they're going to have the Olympics. Now, they're like 30 or 40 miles away from the stadium, but the spokesmen are saying that, and they're leaving notes, this is just a warning. This is what we're going to do. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. Then there have been more attacks on cities where they're going to have events and everything else. I really do believe that you're going to see people killed during this Olympics. I'm not kidding you. It's going to be bad. I think somebody's going to bring something in there and blow people up. These guys don't fool around. This is a vicious group of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And they plan to hold the Olympics on top of the bones of our ancestors, on the bones of many, many dead Muslims buried on our land by the Black Sea. The guy, Umarov, dressed in fatigues, said in a video statement that his fighters will use maximum force to prevent the games. It is quite possible that these Islamist militants will pinpoint attacks as a decoy and get the army or whatever to go to one place, and then they will have a giant attack. They blew up a car in front of a McDonald's in Moscow. I mean, I got to tell you. So what they're mad at is this town of Sochi. Sochi is apparently was a Muslim stronghold at one point or whatever. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
They always have a reason to kill people.
Well,
it's like,
wow.
It's like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. How can we connect this back to our religion and then kill people for it? It's out of hand.
Well, the problem is that they are so convinced that their religion, the Muslim religion, has been vilified. They've been shit on for thousands of years, and now they're going, okay, you're going to be Muslim or else, and we're going to kill people until you are. And that's what the deal is. I mean, that's what the Taliban is doing.
Now that's the one religion no one can shit upon. You can't even draw a picture of their religion and they get all mad. You can't make a joke.
Right.
Any other religion, you could parody, satire it.
Book of Mormon.
Make a joke, yeah. It doesn't, but no, not theirs. Theirs is so holy, you can't touch it.
Nonsense.
Well, when you have nothing but religion, when you have been held down and you have nothing but religion, or let's say you're a Palestinian, they have a 40% unemployment rate in Palestine. Across the street in Israel's a major economy in the world. They have all sorts of money.
And they just booked me for June. I'll be going to Israel in June.
There you go.
For 10 days, yes.
And you would say to the Palestinians, look, if you stop all of this, we will send you billions of dollars to rebuild the West Bank.
They don't say that, though.
We would send them billions of dollars to rebuild the West Bank
they hate each
and the
other.
Gaza Strip.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
they just hate each other.
I mean, Garrett, when the United States goes to the Middle East and tries to make a deal, we offer all kinds of money. Like, how did we get the Iranians to let us into their nuclear whatever?
Levi's?
We released $7 billion of their frozen money.
Of their frozen money?
Yes.
Yes.
Since 1979, we have frozen billions and billions of dollars of Iran's money. Now, I don't know if it's been growing in a bank account or what it's been doing. And so we released $7 billion. Would we make a deal with
You think
North
anyone
Korea?
dipped into that $7 billion? Just follows. I'll give it.
I would have. I wouldn't have frozen it. I would have taken it.
Put some IOUs in there.
They took our hostages. As soon as the hostages were released, which, by the way, we gave them billions of dollars
Thank
for
you,
that.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Right.
We gave them billions of dollars. You can say whatever you want to say, but when Ronald Reagan finally made the deal, and he told them not to release the hostages until after he was elected, which is fine. I mean, that's politics. They had sent envoys over there, and the envoys said, okay, release the hostages, and we'll release $5 billion. And that's what they did. So we do it all the time. But for us, we would go, okay, we'll stop killing, trying to kill the Jews, and we'll accept Israel as a country. They won't do it. They absolutely won't do it.
I guess what I don't see is what are we doing to them that they're so mad at?
We're Western.
Yeah, but that's just us doing stuff to ourselves. We're not forcing our...
Yes, we are. We're trying to colonize a people who believe that women should walk, 5 feet behind a man and keep all covered up, and it's all bullshit.
But we're not. There's still countries, there's many countries that do that. We're not telling them they have to stop.
Saudi Arabia.
We fund Saudi Arabia. We give them money. So it's not like we're saying do this or don't. It's like they're just mad at us, and we're not even doing anything to them, it seems like.
That's because we're wild and reckless.
Well, you know what? They don't like all of the immoral stuff. They don't like all of the women and the legs showing and all of that. And it's about men who have a position in life.
And it's about religion. It's all about...
Well, they're going to lose their position also, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a woman be equal to you in the Middle East. That's
or a
pretty
gay.
Crazy. Do you know in Saudi Arabia, they finally started letting women work in stores, in retail stores, and they're covered up. But then they said, but they're going to be near men. So you go into an expensive store in Saudi Arabia, and there are partitions in the store, like a maze, and the women are on the other side of the partition. And when a man comes in, they keep him on another side, and you have to walk in this maze because it's against the religion to gaze upon a man.
What is that? What is that law against Sharia? Sharia?
Yeah,
Sharia law.
Yeah, Sharia law. Totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
Totally unbelievable. Yeah, you're right, Garrett. And we do give them money and jets, and they give us oil and everything else. And we don't say a thing about all that nonsense. All of it. And by the way, the Saudi Arabians give their people money. So, They keep them happy. The sheik, keeps his people
Like
kind of
Obamacare?
happy. Almost.
Sort of, but they get a lot of money.
Wow.
They get,
Right.
they get a part of the kingdom, don't they? Don't they get like?
They keep them in line somehow. They keep them. But when you see Assad being overthrown and the thing in Egypt and everything else, that's got to make the Saudi Arabians nervous.
They are nervous, the Saudis.
Yeah, they got to be a little nervous over there. Let's go to Leo of Alberta. But I'm not joking. I'm going to watch the Winter Olympics because I think there's going to be an attack. I think there's going to be a big attack.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
And they're
agree
gonna
with you, Jay.
You do, Leo?
Oh,
Yeah, I think
oh,
something
yeah,
bad's gonna happen.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. The
well,
Chechens are vicious. They're absolutely vicious. They are rough,
Yeah.
boy.
Now here's
It's gonna be
a
something.
good story. A friend of mine went over there to do a bunch of work in a gas plant, and after a couple
Where?
of weeks,
Over where? In Russia?
in Russia, yeah. Sorry. After a couple of weeks of being in this camp, he had to be in there for 12 weeks for his first turnaround, and after a couple of weeks, he convinced one of the security guys to let him use a Jeep after his day's work. And he went cruising across the desert and was exploring and checking things out. And he came across what seemed to be like a compound. And he was warned by these guys that to stay, if you see a house or anything like that, stay away from it because you're in Chechenian territory and they don't take kindly to strangers. But he got close enough to this facility, he could see it down in a valley. He's up on a mountain, and he could see what looked like he thought they were like religious crosses or symbols. They were about 20 feet in the air, and there was a half a dozen of them. But he couldn't quite make out what they were. And so he managed to get himself close enough without being noticed to see what they were. And there were 6 20-foot poles stuck in the ground with human heads stuck to the top of them. And they were making some sort of statement, but it's
kind of like that lady who had
Yeah.
the mice on the sticks.
Well, you know what? They won't be opening a McDonald's in that area. They're not going to be opening a Burger King or I mean, it's, when they had the Balkans War, which is different, Serbia and Croatia and all that was a war between Christians and Muslims.
Yeah.
And it was difficult for us to understand. They interviewed these snipers. So they'd lived next door to each other for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and then they start shooting their neighbors. There were 2 UN guys trying to keep the peace. There's a woman. Well, wait 1 second. There was a woman coming from a shop with her little son with her. And she walked in between the 2 UN guys thinking she was safe. A Serbian sniper realized that she was a Croatian, shot the child in the head first, and then shot the woman. And when they captured the guy, they asked him, "Why did you shoot the child?" And he said, "I wanted her to see her son die." That's what he said.
Fuck.
That was his hatred. That was his hatred. Yeah, but then the Croatians did it to the Serbs and vice versa and everything else. And Clinton, I think, reluctantly started, bombing people and all that kind of shit. Oh, they're totally nuts. They're just, and what's weird? The oil is always underneath the assholes.
Isn't that
always?
a fact?
Yeah.
That's so true.
The shit we want is always where the assholes are,
The old adage goes that if you could knock out religion, you'll end all the world wars.
Absolutely. I agree.
No. Figure something else.
Well, religion really screws up every society,
It does.
But when you
Including
see them, they look like they're just sitting in like some rocks somewhere, and they don't have anything to do. So someone says, "Hey, here comes the enemy, and here's a gun." It almost looks like something to do. They have no economy. They don't have, they have some goats or some shit. And by the way, all of these soldiers that lost friends and everything in Fallujah, that was a horrible fight we had. We lost 175 soldiers killed and had many more wounded. Well, Fallujah's now, it's a Taliban stronghold. So they're going, "Oh, man, we're all pissed off." Well, what did you think was going to happen? I mean, we all knew as soon as we left they weren't going to do anything. But I started all this with the Russian Olympics. This could be bad. Now, over the bones of our
That's
ancestors.
like in a couple of weeks.
Apparently, Sochi is over a Muslim, town or something. It's not Moscow. There is a problem with where they're having the Olympics. That's the problem. That's what's got this group, all upset.
But there's always going to be a problem. They're going to find something to get mad at. Don't you think?
Well, in 1972, when the Palestinians killed the Israeli athletes.
Now, where was
coaches,
that? That was Munich.
That was in Munich. It was terrible. Well, by the way, it's hard to believe this, but you see Sophie's Choice one time, you see Schindler's List one time, and you need to see Munich one time. And it's vicious, and it shows the Mossad, which is the Israeli side, trying to kill the I guess the Hamas side or whatever it is and then you sort of feel sorry for the Arabs at some point, and you realize they have children and they have families, and then you have the Israeli guys are killing them and all, but you can only see it one. Have you ever seen Munich, Kevin? Ever? The movie? Oh my God. You should go out of your way to see it, and don't have anything to do after it's over. And it's a true story, and the guy that they talked about lives in New York City. He can never go back to Israel. And to this day, there's probably a price on his head by the Arabs. But it's vicious stuff. And they would go all over the world and kill people with all kinds of incredible methods, single bullets coming out of a tube, and they would kill women. The women would meet men in bars, and they would stab them to death before the night was over. Oh man. And Munich caused it. They killed most of the perpetrators of Munich. Well, they're gonna do something at this.
That was live on television when that happened. I remember that when I was.
It was horrible.
So was Atlanta.
Yeah, it was bad.
Now
Atlanta, whoever left that bomb? Did they ever find out who left that bomb?
Oh yeah, the guy
they blamed it on a guy.
No, he hid in the woods for a couple of years. What was the guy's name?
Oh, that's right.
And they finally found him, and he was in West Virginia or something. He was in the woods, living in the woods.
If the guy was accused, there was a security guard that was accused of it.
Yes,
and he sued everybody and won
big
millions
heavy-set
of dollars.
security guard and kind of a dopey guy.
I read a year or so ago that his life was still ruined. Right?
Oh, sure.
Richard Jewell.
I don't know his name. If he lived
Jewell,
next door, yeah, Richard.
Is he in
Jewell.
relation to Jerry Jewell, the comedian?
I don't know.
But he's the one that alerted the cops to the bomb. He was kind of like the messenger.
He's over here. You see something, say something.
Well, they made him out to be like a George Zimmerman, like a wannabe, and it made him a hero, so.
Wow, he sued NBC, the New York Post, Cox Entertainment, CNN.
Did he win?
College. Piedmont settled undisclosed amount.
Okay, that's $1 million.
The NBC paid Jewell $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
New York Post for 15. Undisclosed amount. He sued him for 15, but it didn't say. And Cox.
And who was the guy that got caught? Who was the guy that?
I don't know, but here's what's weird.
But he was in the woods for years.
Eric Robert Rudolph.
Yes, Eric Rudolph. Eric Rudolph.
But here's what's
the
weird.
real outdoors.
The FBI and the Atlanta police, didn't they say Richard Jewell was guilty?
Yes.
So the news were just reporting what the authorities said. They should have sued the government. Should have sued, I'm sure he did, but.
Oh, I'm sure it was a collaboration between the government, the police forces.
Well, his
FBI,
life's still ruined, he says. He's still ruined, and all that kind of stuff, I don't know why these people stay in the United States. First of all, your dollar goes a lot further, in Honduras.
Buy in Belize.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to Belize.
You go buy a nice house there, you get a maid, you get everything for $100 a month or whatever. And
all your satellite TV.
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
So these
why you'd stay here.
Muslim bones were from the early 19th century, when there's some Russians got in the. That'd be like us being mad that they're playing the Rose Bowl in the South, or not the Orange Bowl or something, where there was, the Civil War happened.
So let me go back to let me go back to the Balkans War.
Those war sites.
All right. Let me go back to the Balkans War. we were friends with a couple. He was a very conservative guy from Australia, and she was a Serbian. Her dad was like 80 years old, and he had been living in South Africa or something. They had escaped Croatia or whatever, under the Russians or whatever. Her dad relinquished his citizenship in wherever he was living, went back to Croatia to Serbia to fight the Croatians. That's the way he did. And it made her crazy. But when we would go to a restaurant, we're not having a nice dinner, and something had been on the news, and the next thing you know, she's an American citizen. We went to her party, and she had the American flags and all this kind of shit. She would start saying, I don't know why your country is backing the Croatians. You don't understand. And I go, I don't really know what they're doing. That would piss her off, right? That the average American didn't understand what was happening.
So it's something they're all wrapped up in, and we just can't comprehend. We're not in it at all.
We got thrown out of restaurants. I'm not trying to have an argument. I'm going, oh, okay, Eula, whatever her name was. We had to stop being friends with him, you know. And her husband, we would play golf together, and he said, something you have to realize. When they sit down at the bargaining table between the Croatians and the Serbians, they begin by saying, well, 900 years ago.
Oh, my God.
That's what he said to me. They begin by bringing up stuff from a millennium ago. And he said, that's where they begin. I was watching Lawrence of Arabia over the holidays. And, oh, God, who's the fabulous, he was actually a Spanish actor, and he was a big star of Lawrence of Arabia. Big, tall, 6'5". Oh God. He played a big, dumb leader of one of the tribes, but the tribe was the Hittites, the Hittite tribe. Okay.
Omar Sharif.
No, not Omar.
Jose
Omar was
Ferrer?
a leader. No, Jose Ferrer was a Turk who banged Lawrence of Arabia up the ass. You didn't know that?
Raines, Arthur Kennedy, Donald Wolfett.
No, it's
Arthur Kennedy?
Jack Willem?
Yeah.
Arthur
God, no, he's huge. It's a big actor. I can't believe his name isn't first on the list.
Peter O'Toole, Alec Guinness.
No, he was
Anthony
a star.
Quinn.
Anthony Quinn.
Anthony Quinn.
Yeah.
He was the head of the Hittites. I'm reading in the paper the other day. Blah, 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 blah. Somebody had attacked in Syria this town. It's a Hittite stronghold. And I'm going, that's from Lawrence of Arabia. And the Hittites are friends of the Alawites, which is what Omar Sharif played the head of in Lawrence of Arabia. It's the same shit from 1914 or whatever it was, right? Except they hit oil, a lot of them, right? But it's the same tribal shit. And we're not tribal. You know, you're from New Jersey, you're from... The biggest tribal thing we ever had was the North and the South. That's all we ever had.
The races, maybe.
Yeah, that's about it.
The gays.
Kevin of Atlanta. Yes, Kevin. Richard Jewell, where does he live now? Does he live in your neighborhood?
I'm afraid he's passed on, Jay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
What happened? Did he die of a broken heart?
I've been very interested in this story since I've lived here and I lived through it, so I'll make it brief. But here's what happened.
Okay.
Basically, the guy was kind of a 38-year-old kind of fat loser loner that lived with his mom. And he always had aspirations of being a cop. And he was like a security guard at some North Georgia college, whatever. He got the security position, and we all know that he tipped off the police about this backpack that was down in Centennial Park.
Right.
Well, okay. So basically, Cox Communications, they own the Journal-Constitution and a lot of radio and TV stations here in Atlanta. Well, they had this one beat reporter that after the bomb went off, got a tip from someone in the FBI or the CIA, whoever, that they were investigating this kind of fat, chubby loser, and she leaked the information, and then everybody ran with it, including NBC, all the stations. So
all they said was they were investigating him. That's all they
true,
said.
but they said they thought he was one of these guys who planted the bomb to be a hero.
Right.
So, anyways, a couple months later, as they're investigating it, the original dumbfuck dynasty redneck Christian guy who set off the bomb set off another one in a lesbian bar here in Atlanta. And, like, they compared the two bombs, and it became pretty apparent that this Richard Jewell guy was innocent. But by this time, everyone in the world thought he was the guy.
And he was trying to defend him. He was trying to defend himself the whole time.
Yeah.
So listen, I don't know if you remember, but they even had a part. This went all the way up to Janet Reno at the time. And there's a great SNL skit where he shows up himself in person, and Will Ferrell is Janet Reno apologizing for this. But here's the interesting
Richard Jewell did Saturday Night Live?
Yep, he did one little cameo thing, and it was when Will Ferrell used to do Janet Reno.
Yeah.
And she had to apologize for him. He got a super lawyer, and he sued everybody, and everybody settled except for Cox Communications. They fought it and fought it and fought it, and he ended up getting incredibly wealthy and then pissing it all away, and then he moved to South Georgia and actually became a police officer, but he was like too fat and old, and he died like at the age of 46.
Oh,
44
wow.
years ago.
Wow, Kevin, what an incredible backup to the bombing at the Atlanta Olympics. Wow.
I was there that night. I was performing in Centennial Park that night.
Did anybody
What were you doing performing?
Well, I'm a musician, and my wife, it was my girlfriend at the time. I didn't call her, and I learned a very valuable life lesson about not letting my girlfriend know. But, there was one.
So you heard the bomb go off. So you were there when the bomb went off.
Was anybody injured?
There when the bomb went off.
Two dead, 111 injured.
Oh my God! So you know what they didn't have back then that they have now?
The internet.
No, everyone that was injured, like 9/11 and also in this bombing, all of a sudden the government or some group pays everybody who was injured in a random bombing, like in Boston. I don't believe they had that, and I don't know that those people sued the mall.
Who's that lawyer that's out there? I think we interviewed him on the show.
Yeah, he's like a super lawyer guy. And I've done a lot of traveling. If you go overseas and you still mention the Atlanta Centennial Olympic bombing, they still think it's Richard Jewell. Like, people overseas don't know that it was this idiot redneck bomb maker guy.
Eric Rudolph.
Yeah, Robert. And guess what? The only reason they found him, because he was dumpster diving. He survived in the woods of West Virginia for 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And then he just happened to say, you know what, I'm hungry, I'm tired of eating squirrel, I'm going to dive in this dumpster. And by accident, they found him. They looked for this guy for 7 years and couldn't. How could they find Saddam Hussein in a spider hole in Iraq? But they couldn't find dumb fuck dynasty guy in West Virginia for 7 years. Unbelievable.
Now, where is he now? He's in jail?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep, and chicks will ride him and like, I love you. And there was like
111 people injured. I had no idea. And I'm sure some had their legs blown off. And
No. At the Olympic, the Atlanta bombing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, there might have been, I'm sure 111 people went to Grady that night, but it wasn't like Boston. You had one person, I think it was African-American.
Somebody lost an eye, maybe.
No. One girl was killed, and there were a couple that got some shrapnel.
Sure.
But it wasn't, no. It was like people were going to the hospital. But it didn't sound, I was about, 3/4 of a mile away on a stage. And that was the other interesting thing is because it was in such a crowded place. Like when you see the Boston bomb go off, it's right there kind of contained. But this was in a huge park with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. And had he not, tipped off the cops, they could have been really bad. And the worst part of it all is he called 911 because he was like, hey, there's this weird backpack down here in Centennial Olympic Park, and the idiot 911 operator didn't know the address. So they never got a cops there. And that's
one day I was coming home from the gym, and there was a backpack. This is right after, it might have been right after not the Atlanta bombing, but after the Boston thing. And it's just a block from here. and there was a backpack sitting under the bench at the bus stop, and there was no one around.
Mm-hmm.
So I get on my cell phone and I go, "Hey, I'm here at the corner of State and Main or whatever."
What's your name?
And I said, "Oh yeah, I did all that."
Yeah.
And I said, there's an unattended backpack here. So I went to the post office. I came out, stood on the steps. No, they never came. The cops never came. They never did anything.
Hey, Jay.
I mean, maybe hours later they did, but I got tired of waiting. I thought they were going to come with like a robot.
Sure.
They
Hey, Jay,
you see something, you say something. That's what we do in New York.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what Ira taught me.
Well, hey, Jay,
yes, what is it?
In 2005, I went to Croatia and Bosnia, and we went to, what is it called? Dubrovnik, which was, I guess, one of the cities that was under siege.
I bet it was fabulous.
It was neat. It was very cheap, but here's the thing. You see, these UN peacekeeping troops patrolling the city to this day. They're very distinctive. They have, these blue hats.
Right.
And I was talking to one of the guys in the bar, and I'm like, I'm kind of surprised, because it's 2005 when I was there. And I'm like, what are you guys still doing here? And he said, the minute we leave, they will go right back to killing each other.
Have you ever seen the movie No Man's Land?
Is that the one with Owen Wilson?
No. No Man's Land was made by real guys that fought, and they were Croatian guys. Right. They leave their house, 5 of them, and the guy that wrote and directed the movie, they had one gun among them.
Right.
And they go out to shoot Serbs.
Right.
And they have this gun, and after a while they realize how stupid it is. The war goes on, and the guy writes this movie called No Man's Land, which was made for 5 cents, and you cannot believe how beautiful the movie is shot.
Wow.
But it is a weird, weird film about Croatians and Serbs caught together in a situation, and if anybody moves, they're all dead.
Right.
It is wild. And the UN comes, and it's supposedly taken from real events that happened. No Man's Land. Well, Kevin of Atlanta, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay.
You get you see commercials for Croatia when you go to Europe, and it's like this destination that everybody goes to. It's like, come to Croatia, and it's all the pictures and commercials are beautiful. Yeah, you want to go there. You really do.
Justin Bieber's home was entered by the police today after his egg throwing incident. And there was a woman, who is this, Christina? Lil Za. Is that one of his, housekeeper?
His friends /
She lives there?
Staffers. No, it's a guy.
Oh, it's a guy? Mm-hmm. Well, he had coke on him, and they've arrested him. So
how would they find out that he had coke on him?
He was at the house when the cops showed up.
But so they could search him?
Yeah, it seems so weird.
Yeah. They can search the house, but they can't search your person unless...
Really?
Yes, they can't. I mean, they can find... say you get pulled over by the police in your car. They can search the car, but they can't search you unless they find something in the car.
Or
then they can search
say, yes, you could search me.
Yes.
Which he might have been stupid enough to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you have coke on him,
he's going to, so they have made an arrest. He's been arrested. All right, I tell you what. Let's do Around the Horn. Okay, Around the Horn. It is a musical Around the Horn.
Okay.
And you're going to hear a Sting song. You're going to hear Sting. Sting is not singing the lead. An amazing superstar, not a singer. An amazing film superstar is singing the lead. Sting is going to sing the chorus with him. And when I saw it, I was shocked and amazed at the talent of this film. It's a man. It's a film superstar. And this is for Christina and for you, Kevin. Listen to this. Listen up.
How can you say that you're not responsible? What does it have to do with me? What is my reaction? What should it be?
It's not Sting.
Fronted by this latest atrocity. Driven to tears. Driven to tears. not enough food. This is what we're seeing.
All right, let's turn it down. First of all, I would think that is as good as anybody can sing like Sting. Would you not say that, Christina?
Yes, I would say.
All right. And you gave any idea who
Well,
the
now I
major...
do because people are calling up and going, I know who that is, and then they just say it.
Oh, well, why did you answer the phone during the contest?
What do you mean?
The
It's my
contest is
job
for you.
to answer the phone.
No, it isn't.
Then it rings and you yell at me.
No. So now you know.
Mm-hmm. Ruined.
All
Thank
right.
you, listener.
This is a very hard question. I mean, there's
I
no
think I know who it is.
Kevin, who do you
Yes.
think it is? Who do you think it is?
I'm just going to take a wild guess. I think it's Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. He is a superstar. It is Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay. Very good.
First of all, he looks incredible. Can you let Kevin see him?
Who knows what you do?
He walked out in the middle of a Sting concert, and he sings this. Turn it up. Wow, fantastic. Good?
He looks great.
Oh, my wife showed me this morning. She's a huge Sting fan. And she shows me everything Sting. So she showed me that. So play this out, Garrett, and then we'll head for a break. I don't know where they did this, but...
is there anything you can't do?
Well, let me tell you something else, and Kevin knows this too. Sitcom actors, movie actors, women that you don't know can sing and stuff. What's amazing is we come from a group of individuals who become actors, and a lot of us can do stuff, Kevin, that no one ever imagined. And most of us sang and danced and did comedy and drama and everything. And then we got into one area, either a sitcom or you acted silly or you became a bad guy in the movies. And most of us, wouldn't you say, Kevin, professionals, can do more than one thing.
I can ride a horse also. How do you like that?
There you go. Turn it up. Turn it up. That's Sting and Robert Downey Jr. singing lead, by the way. What does Tuda Tutsia mean? What is all that? Everything he sings is like, I'd like to hear Kevin do a Marilyn Manson song and make it sound like, Robert Downey Jr., there you go. Okay, the Jay Thomas Show on Sirius XM. We're all very good. We're all very...
The Jay Thomas Show. Afternoons.
They can't afford to pay you because you're so talented.
Jay Thomas
On Indy.
Sirius XM 104.
Well, I tell you what, if you Google Mars, I will tell you, I don't believe in this stuff usually. There's a video on YouTube that shows what they're saying are ancient alien burial mounds found on Mars. But there is something there that is looks mathematically drawn. It has a triangular shape to it that looks like it was something. It was posted by Wow for Real. WOWFOR.
Oh, wow.
REEEL. You see it?
Yeah, that's great.
Somebody just sent me that. But the one on the right that I'm looking at is kind of, could be a crater. But on the left, there is definitely, you see the one that's
It looks
triangular?
like a keyhole.
It does. It is triangular, and, not that nature can't make things straight like that, but that is pretty interesting. Now, you know what I love about NASA? There were times, the United States government so afraid that there's going to be like an alien from outer space. I've never understood that. Why they're so nervous about even discussing it. It's like, so what? So, it's like we all have our doubts. We're all wondering, and yet, oh, my God, if there's, a Hangar 51.
I don't think anybody would be surprised. I mean, we've been talking about it since 1947, since they landed.
But the government's so nervous, right?
They've always been. But even, I think, some of the presidents have addressed it. Harry Truman did, I believe, and Kennedy did. Everybody has had comments on UFOs and aliens and everything, but yeah, we're fascinated with it. All of us.
But I wonder if they really ever found anything, and they found. Of course, there are people that will call up and say they have, which there's, and, alien autopsy was bullshit and all like that. And I've listened to everyone about this Hangar 17, Hangar 51, this Roswell. But there was absolutely, no pictures of anything that looks, alien-like that the government has ever released.
Well, how did we get so far in science so fast?
Yeah, but they won't talk about it. It's like, what would happen? What's the big deal? We'd be frightened. We'd be. What?
They said that's reverse engineering. They would find something like these spaceships that crashed. Then in Roswell, and then they would go over the whole spacecraft, and then they would learn all their technology, and then put it into our new planes, and refrigerators and iPads.
But we've never done that.
We have. That's why we are where we are now.
You think that they have a spaceship and they've done this?
This is why we are where we are today, because of reverse engineering.
Really?
Yes.
That's what you think.
I believe it's a possibility. I wouldn't say I fully believe it, but I believe it could be possible.
Well, what I think is funny is that we have these missiles that are below ground all over the United States, ready to be launched at Russia, China,
Cuba,
Iran, and everything else. And we're never going to launch them. They are nuclear warheads.
They're probably pretty old now,
They're in Wyoming. They're in Nebraska. And when they went down and they had like a surprise inspection, everybody was drunk and stoned. Did you know this? And they fired 2 Air Force officers overseeing armed missiles in a Montana air base, being investigated for illegal drugs, misconduct, sexual, having sex. They're bored to death, and they're never going to launch anything. And
don't some people live in these silos? The ones that they've taken. They've taken the rocket apart.
3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, whatever it is.
No, but they'll take the rocket apart. They'll dismantle it because of some treaty that we have. That we're going to get rid of them. And now the silo is up for sale. Somebody buys it, then moves into it, and redoes the whole thing.
But we have plenty of silos that have rockets in them ready to be launched. And we're not going to dismantle these rockets. They're investigating Major General Michael Carey, the former commander of our Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Force. He was relieved of command in October after it was determined he drank heavily, made rude comments, and spent time with women in the nuclear facility. And during a security exercise that was supposed to be pretending we were launching toward Russia, he brought women down there while they were doing it.
You know what the launch codes were for, decades?
No, what?
00000. Because
why is that?
Because they were afraid that somehow, the phone lines would get cut off, or there'd be some reason they couldn't transfer the code for that day, so they wanted it to be the quickest, easiest thing that people would know and it wouldn't change. And they just played up the fact that it was this big secret code.
0000000.
It was just all zeros. Yep.
Recently, Chuck Hagel, the defense secretary, toured the Minuteman III Launch Control Center in Nebraska. 10 warheads, 10 nuclear warheads underground in a silo. There are missile silos in Wyoming, Colorado, Montana, North Dakota. They don't test these missiles. They're never going to shoot these missiles. And these have been down there since the 60s and the 70s. and they've, improved them and everything else. There are 500 land-based intercontinental ballistics missiles ready to go at any moment. And we have armed submarines that are patrolling the world, ready to launch all these missiles. We will never launch one of these missiles ever, and they're all bored to tears. They're bored to tears. So now the Obama administration wants $23 billion for more nuclear weapons. It's so ridiculous.
More?
Want more of them. Yeah. But what I love is, they're down there. I'd be stoned too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? Oh, God.
No sunlight. You just have to sit there and do something. You know you're never going to get called upon. And if you
so
do
you're
get
3 weeks, let's say you're 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. Let's say that's your...
Are you living there for 3 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're doing a 12-hour shift, you get there, you're in the middle of nowhere. Even if you live somewhere, Garrett, you're 2 hours from your house. You got to sleep there. So you drive up, you park, and you're going
probably
in to do
park
nothing.
Underground.
No, you're going in to do nothing.
Yeah. Well,
it would
sure
be
you
like
have to, you have to punch in your time card and everything.
It's so weird. It's the most important job, yet the least important.
Boring.
Job. Yeah.
Absolutely boring as hell. And what I love is they did this surprise inspection, and they're booze, broads, and drugs. I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, what they?
I wonder if they went down there and the colonel or the general or whatever was down there with a broad, on top of the missile. Oh, my God. Let's go to Bill of Pennsylvania. Yes, Bill, it's Jay Thomas. Why doesn't the government ever discuss aliens? Why don't they want to talk about that ever?
I think that religion still has a major stronghold in this country and in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, everything you ever read in the Bible basically says there's one race, one planet with human life on it. And don't you think that would kind of throw us all into like a major...
That's true.
Well, if you watch the History Channel, I've said this before, if you watch the History Channel, the Military Channel, or Discovery Channel, they make the Bible out to be the stupidest piece of shit ever written on papyrus. They run, and I can't believe that the religious right and the God hates fags guy and all of them don't converge on the History Channel and say, stop it. Because I watched over the holidays, as I said, all the cable shows and stuff, and they debunked the Bible and Christmas and, Moses and all of them. And then you've got alien. What about they think that there weren't angels, they were aliens, and the halos were the helmets.
But here's the thing with religion. Religion is a faith-based. It's 100% on faith. And all these people who debunk it, these Christians, you have to understand, a lot of these Christians, especially these Bible-beaten, born-again Christians, it doesn't matter what you tell them. Their faith tells them that there is a God in heaven, and when they die, they are going to go to heaven with God and Jesus and the rest of their family.
Right, the whole deal. They're all going to be up there dancing.
So all of a sudden, if I'm like, oh yeah, Christian, well, how about this? Here's my fucking spaceship, and here's my 10 aliens living with me.
Where's your God now?
Well, right, and I think another thing is religion also keeps humans and most humans.
I always wanted to play the evil guy in one of those religious shows who is on the throne and goes, "Where is your God now, Jesus?" I always wanted to play the guy that tortured Moses or Jesus or whatever. Where is your God now? Like
don't
that.
You know
what, Kevin? They always have a gay actor play those characters.
Of course they do.
I want you to do it now, Kevin.
Ass.
I want you to play Pontius Pilate for me now. I want you to say, "Where is your God now, Jesus?" Please, Kevin.
Where is your God now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where is he?
Yes, absolutely.
How dare you? How dare you? Where is your God?
Who do you think you are?
Oh, it's always a really upset gay guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
I am
sir. Go
upset.
ahead. One more comment.
Why
we
shouldn't I
got.
be?
Don't you also think if it did happen and they did, there'd be a lot more crime? There'd be, because a lot of these people.
No,
just go crazy.
Oh, really?
Bullshit.
You don't think that?
I don't. You know something? My kids and I and my wife, we don't have any. There's no God or anything. We don't believe in that. We don't kill people because it's morally wrong against society, not because God told us not to do it.
You're absolutely right, Jay. But how many alcoholics or drug addicts do you know that get sober and find God?
Well, that's true. That's true.
So all these
and you know what's funny? They become they're bores as drunks, and then they become bores when they're sober.
Because they need something.
Some people shouldn't get sober. You know?
You're right about that.
Great show, guys.
A friend of mine's wife was fabulous and wild, and we had a great time with her. She got sober, and we used to go out and go, Jesus Christ, is that fucking boring?
Have a drink.
And, oh, I know. Have a cocktail. Do a hit of Coke, and let's get back to the old,
do a
Kathy
bump.
we knew. Hey, listen. It's getting more fun every day, and we'll do it again tomorrow. See you later.